renewables. Uh, we are now facing a crisis. Irrespective of how you want to look at it, we are facing a crisis across the globe. And we've had pledges from all the major nations with respect to their desire to reduce the emissions and try to get to net zero by 2050. This is a reality. It's what faces all of us. And we have two choices. We embrace and figure out how we convert this into an opportunity, or we spend the next 30 years complaining about how unfair the world is. The sad reality is we do not exist in a village. It is the world is the village now. So every action that every country takes impacts everybody else. In the end, the rising sea levels are not going to be selective to certain countries. They will impact everybody. I see this as an opportunity. It is a great opportunity for Africa, for sub-Saharan Africa, to actually empower a whole new group of entrepreneurs to create new industries, to create employment on a significant scale. And I personally believe that this is an opportunity, a once in a lifetime opportunity. And this is the main reason why we are looking at Africa in particular with respect to project development. The green hydrogen economy is forecast to be greater than a $10 trillion marketplace. And it is a wonderful opportunity for Africa and sub-Saharan Africa to play a meaningful role in this particular space. More importantly, Africa is actually well positioned to play a leadership role. Goldman Sachs has been doing a lot of research over the last few years. And I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen. I've put a little blue circle around Africa. And if you look at the cost of production with respect to both green and blue hydrogen, you will see that Africa enjoys a competitive position. And if you look at the left-hand side, you will see that Africa sits in a net exporting arena. So we have the opportunity to actually take care of our internal requirements and at the same time step up and play a meaningful role with respect to the potential for exporting and meeting the demands of Europe and other areas. Another key factor is you're going to see a very rapid decrease in terms of cost of production. So you will find as technology evolves, as processes evolve, it is actually going to start to become cheaper and cheaper to focus on green and blue hydrogen. And as you can see from the data, you are looking at convergence as early as within the next 3 to 4 years. And you got to keep that at the back of your mind every time you're looking to do any investment or any growth. Now, one of the things that the organizer mentioned was to think big, but he also said, remember that you have to watch the company that you keep. I think the world has got much more sophisticated and somebody is always watching. So we've got to be careful on the messaging that we put out there, because now the environmental groups, the NGOs, and in some cases, government institutions have built enough competence to actually start to dissect the messaging that companies send out. And we're seeing this in Europe, we're seeing this in the United States, and I think it's going to start coming home into Africa as well, where the days of simply saying we will do this or we will do that, or we are going to achieve that without actually providing any substance or actually presenting plans that are not well thought out are going to get unraveled. I mean, the latest, apart from Shell losing their court case in the Netherlands, you see that Total Energies is currently sitting in Paris, and the NGOs and the environmental groups that have challenged that have actually dissected all the reports and actually have now mapped out a pathway to show how incongruent the presented plan with respect to getting to net zero is against the actual cash flow associated with the company. So keep that in mind. You are going to have to, you will be challenged on an integrity basis. So it's very important to ensure that whatever messaging you send out, you have to know that you can actually deliver and be committed towards it. The other thing we've got to accept is the circle of life. Everything goes through these stages, and eventually we get to a point where things decline and die. And we have to get to the point where we break the emotional ties that we have with certain organizations. Now, you will find big organizations typically will create jobs in the early stages, right through till about 50 or 60% through their growth phase. But from that point forward, they actually start shedding jobs. As they get into the maturity phase and decline phase, the rate of the jobs shedding is exponentially larger with each year that passes by. And that's natural. It is a fact of life, as we all go through these phases as human beings. Businesses go through this as well. And we've got to learn to start planning for transitions, planning to move into new life cycles. And I think that's sometimes the biggest challenge that we have. Organizations sometimes get so big that we start to believe that they are anchors in the economy. And that's not true. I mean, if anything, over the last decade has shown, even the big organizations that were too big to fail, that were bailed out, if they didn't change, they disappeared. So the world moves on, and we have to learn to accept that. We don't exist in isolation. And it is very important to use some of the old tools. And on my right-hand side, maybe on your left, you will see the old classic BCG matrix. It's very important to understand where the business is and what the business is delivering, and actually design your investment profile around that. It is absolutely crucial to actually embrace change, even when you are ahead of the game. We very often hear about jobs being at risk. And I very specifically picked this particular country because I think no country in the world has such a high dependency on a single industry as Saudi Arabia. But you have to give credit where credit is due. They have seen the change, and instead of saying, we got to pump and we want to pump all the oil forever, they've actually started to transition their investment profile. And they recognize the role that hydrogen will play, and they've actually built an integrated energy strategy and have the stated ambition that at the end of it all, they still want to be the top supplier of hydrogen. And they've not just stated that, they've started to put their money where their mouth is. They've started to invest significantly in blue and green hydrogen projects, and they've already unraveled a strategy for the next phase, where it's not just shipping the hydrogen around the world, but it is how do we get integrated into the value chain? And you've heard the MEC talking about the value chain, and the value chain becomes very important because if you want to leverage and become very much export orientated, you've got to understand where in the value chain you can play, and more importantly, where you can win. The other crucial thing that I notice very often when talking to people is how very rarely they pay attention to their customers. We right now have every major motor manufacturer has announced that they're in a position to start phasing out the combustion engine by 2030. But we also have large significant players who've already started to make commitments in 2022. And I decided to pick a few examples in South Africa because that is to drive home the point that this change is coming. This year alone, you will have Mercedes-Benz launching new models. You will have Audi with their e-tron and their range. You will have Toyota. You will have BMW. And BMW not only is coming in with their EVs, they will also launch the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle this year. And all of this will be available in Africa in 2022. Are we designing the future to satisfy this new customer? Or are we designing a future that is actually looking at the future with a rearview mirror, thinking that we are going to forever be supplying petrol and diesel to these guys? It is vital, like I said, to listen to your customer. If your customer is actually building cars that are going to run on electricity and hydrogen, I think you can safely bet your last dollar that the demand for fuels are going to decrease. And the same goes to the aviation sector. With all the talk about sustainable air fuel, both Boeing and Airbus, less than 24 months ago, announced that their single-aisle planes should all be hydrogen powered by the mid-2030s. Fast forward, less than 18 months down the road, just a few weeks ago, the CEO of Airbus has now said they are fairly confident that they will have a hydrogen-powered super jumbo flying by 2035. That's less than 2 years. So the rate of change is immense. And I stress again, this is a wonderful opportunity. If we go back to the early slides that I shared with respect to the position that Africa finds itself in terms of renewable energy, green hydrogen, green ammonia, to become a major player in this. And we should be fast tracking these projects to actually match the ambition of the customers who demand these products. I think the key is also to reframe the conversation. We hear a lot of the conversation around job creation versus job preservation. I see one as a dilemma and one as a problem. Job preservation, that's a dilemma. There's no real solution out there. Job creation, that's a problem, and it can be addressed. And again, as I said earlier, the laws of nature will dictate. As in life, so as in business. Understand that job creation will always beat job preservation in the long run. We need to appreciate the need to allow businesses to exit or die gracefully. We have to reshape and repurpose the DFIs. Their focus should be on supporting growth in future industries, the government growth strategies, enabling new entrants, enabling economic diversification. We should leave the commercial banks to play the role of funding companies that already have healthy balance sheets. The DFIs should not be there to actually prop up businesses that are in the latter stages of their life cycle. And that is a key differentiator that we have to look at within Africa, is how do we step out from this regime where we often find ourselves, where we are propping up businesses in state of decline rather than investing in growth engines and businesses of the future. We've got to be focusing on an agile workforce. How do we build bench strength and competencies that traverse across industry sectors? People have got to have the ability to take best practices and principles from one sector to the next. We've got to encourage entrepreneurship. We've got to figure out how to do this, lest we forget the current wealthiest man in the world is a son of Africa. What could we have done to have enabled him to be as successful in Africa as he has been in North America? Government has to focus on building governance frameworks rather than having expert commissions. And we have to step away from too big to fail. As I've mentioned, we've seen many examples where too big has actually failed even after they have been rescued. As the Honorable MEC mentioned, we are working on a host of projects. And we've built a philosophy around embracing just transition because we recognize there are assets that can be utilized today and figure out how to transition through the various phases to embrace the future. We are looking at existing assets and how do we clean them up with respect to climate change? How do we actually do this in a manner that focuses in on reducing emissions, but at the same time increasing profitability? And then having a transition into products that satisfy the next generation. We have got the EU regulations that kick in with respect to renewable content from 2025 and that get ramped up even further in 2030, with President Biden having signed in his executive order with respect to a 52% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 in the United States. We expect to see very similar sorts of regulations coming in the United States. And if you look at the Chinese 5-year planning and the plans that come into effect from 2030 and beyond, we don't have many products that fit in the export basket that will actually satisfy those regulations in Asia, the European Union, and potentially in the United States. In terms of projects that we guys have been working on in Africa, we focused on, as I mentioned, renewable chemicals. We have been developing waste to power in certain areas. We have started conceptual work on green hydrogen, technologies, integrated processes. And we are actually currently working with a Canadian and American company focused on delivering a charging and hydrogen supply solution to forecourts. We are currently looking at 3 other countries in Africa, Central Africa, and similar types of projects. Very briefly, this is the one project that we have progressed through various phases. This project actually has backing from the US EXIM and the EU, and we've got guarantees, government guarantees associated with this project to over $600 million, and we are finalizing the fundraising on the equity side. Job creation, we are looking at this project with over 7,500 jobs in the agricultural sector, permanent jobs, over 1,000 jobs at this particular site. We're looking at about 5,000 jobs during construction, and using the manufacturing and agricultural indices in South Africa, we're looking at over 30,000 jobs. So it is a huge vehicle with respect to job creation. We have, over the last 3 or 4 years, been working with various groups. We focused on women empowerment. We've looked at rural development. We have also looked and worked with farmers from the previously disadvantaged communities, and we've been able to put a supply chain associated with the requirement in that sector. In terms of environmental, this particular project will mitigate more than 2 million tons of CO2 annually. It has no organic waste from this site. We have net zero water principles associated in the design, and the entire site is powered by renewable power. It is a very innovative solution that has been developed with some of the OEMs to integrate your traditional renewable power with dispatchable power mechanisms. We're looking at revenues on the site at over $1 billion. There's already customers, Goodyear US, Sumitomo, Tupperware, Woolworths, who have all expressed interest in purchasing. And more importantly, you know, apart from the financial robustness, we look at this from a social well-being. The project has been designed embracing the UN SDGs. So hitting home on all the key health aspects, we focus very heavily on water purification. The site is a net positive in terms of water. It returns water that's potable into the system. In terms of emissions and particulates, it has about the lowest levels for a site this size. And there are, as I mentioned, no greenhouse gas emissions associated with this particular project. We have looked at this across South Africa, and we've done pre-feasibility work in other areas. And I apologize, I mentioned South Africa because we've been busy for about 4 years. In this region, we've only just started over the last 6 months in other areas. So we do have a fair amount of work done. And you know, the advantage that you have with respect to driving the renewables is to touch on the key points that the MEC mentioned with respect to infrastructure, with respect to electricity, with respect to water. You are able to create a distributed network to deliver on this. And at the same time, you are able to address key issues with respect to employment. You are able to then address the key issues associated with healthcare. And very importantly, we are able to reduce dependency on imports, because as you drive this type of integrated environment, you are in a position then to reduce your demand with respect to imported fuels and focus more in terms of driving on the agricultural side, you are able to boost your crops. On the transport side, you focus more on e-mobility. And if you have all of that integrated with water production, you have a very virtuous circle that eventually ends up being developed. And, you know, we don't say this lightly. We completely believe that by 2030, you could be in a position within the South African environment to increase the GDP by more than 20%, employment by more than 10%. And it becomes the single largest transformation project because you do not have to take from anybody to drive this. It's brand new, and as the MEC mentioned, this is a new sector. You set up the governance frameworks that allow participation from the disadvantaged groups to a larger degree, And you are able to build a new generation of entrepreneurs. You are able to spread the wealth a little bit more to a greater part of the population. And hopefully then drop from that number one place that the MSC was talking about, no longer be number one on the Gini coefficient from 164 countries. And I think, that's my last slide. But in conclusion, I would like to say that we have to accept that what we have done to date has. So we have got to take a new path. Einstein, I think, is the person who said, repeating the same thing and expecting a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity. So we've reached the point where I think we've got to be bold. As the convener mentioned earlier, think big. We have designed all of these solutions without using any new technology. And we retain all the OEM guarantees that come, whether it is on the chemical side or on the power side, that your large producers and OEMs would provide. So these solutions are designed with minimal technical risk or no level of technical risk greater than what you deploy currently in your fossil fuel environment. But they come with the ability to now drive large-scale unemployment in a sector that we have struggled with, and that is in the low to medium skill, because agriculture becomes such an underpinning part of this program. You're able to absorb a large percentage of people where there are no current programs to actually drive that. So I want to thank you for your time, for listening to me. I hope it was enjoyable, and I hope there was something that you took away from it. I think I'd like to end by saying, please remember, the best way to do well is by doing good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sadesh. Do you see what public-private partnerships do? This whole conversation is just at another level, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Dr. Sadesh, Dr. Malapha says he'll give you a call a little bit later. We'll have a three-way call, and we will further engage on some of these critical issues. But also, you have been speaking to key players in the industry, Doc. And as I'm looking at the expression and the excitement around the room, we are seeing that there is a new hope for our country and new hope for our continent. And I believe that, yes, although the macroeconomy has allowed so many events to overtake itself due to COVID, due to the Russia-Ukraine debacle, if I can call it that, and other aspects that are affecting matters that are out of our control, external environments that are out of our control, this is the new path. This is the new way forward. And if I, as a policymaker and a legislator, if I'm going to stay behind and look at the rearview mirror, like he says, or look in front of me and watch everybody go forward, on the bus, off the bus, whichever way we want to continue overtaking us South Africans. And largely and lastly, what I want to say is when we talk about restructuring the South African economy, this is the way we got to do it, Doc. This is the whole reset. This is a commodity. This is an IP. This is something that will restructure our economy from what we call a mixed economy to a more diverse-driven economy. And it means our skills would have to change, the value chains would have to change. But Doc, let me allow you to further lead this program, and then we can have Dr. Sadesh remain on the line for some questions, whilst you have other invited guests that need to be part of today's discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up again for MEC Brown for that informative talk to us this morning, together with Dr. Sadesh Sukraj, who's enlightened and opened our minds to the future. So next on our program is an invitation to Frank, all the way from Norway. And we're going to listen to him and the presentation of Otalo and the product that they are busy doing at the moment. So let us welcome Frank.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings from the far north, from the Arctic part of the world.
Welcome to South Africa, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
we're diametrically opposite when it comes to geography, but I think we have the same goals in life, and I would really like to continue where the good doctor, what the good doctor said. The best way of doing well is by doing good. And that is what Othello is all about. That is actually where Othello started. It is with a wish of doing good in the world, and in particular when it comes to plastic waste and the problem the entire globe is situated in when it comes to the plastic and growing plastic waste problem, and of course the problem of affordable housing globally. I won't do I was thinking here, do the slideshow. No, I will not. I'll put my papers aside. I'll talk now straight from my heart, because Othello is made from the heart. So I feel that's the right thing to do. All the presentations we can do later in a more for those who are interested. But I'll start with telling how Othello came about. And first, a bit of my background. I have a degree in building engineering from when I was young. And then I went into the Norwegian Army and Government Services, traveling the world. I went back to my hometown in the Arctic a few years back. And after an autumn storm, I saw the plastic waste being washed ashore by the ocean. I've lived 30 meters from a small beach in my Arctic hometown in the middle of the Barents Sea. I've always heard about the plastic waste problem of the world, but then it actually dawned to me. Started to look at the plastic waste which was found there, and wow, this is not local plastic waste. This is not even Norwegian plastic waste. This was plastic waste that was following the Gulf Stream and washed ashore as far north as you could get. And then I really started, I have to look into this. Started to actually go deeper behind what we already see on media, read about, to actually see the problems behind it. And then I started to think, how can we do something about this? And then I brought up my knowledge from before, building, that I've been working abroad for the Norwegian government, what I've seen with the slums, shanty towns. Is it possible to use one global problem to solve another? Can we use plastic waste in such an amount that we can actually build affordable housing? I spent several years with different universities, an organization here in Norway called SINTEF, which do all the approval of building technology in Norway using the European measurements. We had to do it strong enough. We had to make it fireproof. We had to make it UV resistant. We had to make it like a whole, not waste, but that you feel that when I'm opening my door and entering that structure, I'm home. The English have a term called "my home is my castle." You should feel safe. And that is how things started. And it needed to be easy to produce at a lower cost than anything else out there today. And it needed to be patented. So, because this is, I'll go into why it needed to be patented and not open. But when we reached that stage that this was actually doable, UN Habitat got a hold of the technology, took a look at it, and we entered a partnership there, which they announced the 6th of October 2020, and which they've said there is no other technology in the world today that is actually able to do something about Africa's housing deficiency and do something about Africa's plastic waste problem. So that from then on, it really kicked off. And we have been invited into several African countries and several different African projects to build affordable housing on an industrial scale. Because if you're going to do something about these two major global problems, it needs to be scalable. It needs to be industrialized. What we have done is creating the ability to use local plastic waste globally to build local affordable housing globally. And by doing that, we're able to create a lot of jobs. The entire value chain, from picking and waste management until finished house, would involve as much as 1,300 people per production line, per factory. One small, what we call small production line, is able to build, we use the term 60 square meter equivalent. This is based on the 3-room apartments and buildings we discussed with UN Habitat as part of a tiny house project. Our production line, what we call a small production line, is able to produce 2,000 of these units per year, per 2 shifts. And one production line producing 2,000 of these units when fully operational will utilize 16.2 thousand tons, metric tons of plastic waste. We are able to use about, today, we're able to use about 75% of all the plastic waste which is out there. We're now working on with some partners so that we could strive towards 100%. That's the goal. And it is all about, we have what we call the 4 pillars of excellence. Affordable housing, build affordable housing on an industrial scale. We are going to do something about the global plastic waste problem. We have what we call the 3rd pillar is local empowerment. This is not Othalo from Norway coming down, whether it's to East Africa, South Africa, West Africa, Asia, South America, or Europe. We have even got requests from Canada. it's not we, Othalo as the Norwegian company coming down, because we want the locals, we want local partners, we want local ownership. We want this to be not our solution, as in Othalo solution, but as our solution. It's a global solution. We were just lucky enough to invent it. Create jobs, well-paid jobs, with opportunities to rise in the system, get education while you do it, pension funds, create pension options, healthcare, because it's about giving back, because that's the fourth element in this, fourth pillar of excellence, the corporate social responsibility program, giving back. We want to give back to the local societies, local communities. We want to help, especially women, young women, get education. We have a project now together with the African Women Development Organization, where we will help them. We're going to build houses, but giving back with a focus on paying for education for young women, so that they can rise in both the political hierarchy, the societal hierarchy, business, and we want to have focus on hiring women in our leadership. Because I am a firm believer of, and that's where it started, a firm believer of, if you're going to have real change in the world, which we need women to be in the driver's seat. We are, I've got a lot of questions in relation to this conference. What are you looking for in a partner? We want partners with the same value set as we have. Of course, we need to make profit to be sustainable, but we're not profit maximizing. We want to do good. We want to have the local communities to have ownership to this and create on the long term, we've even used the phrase, we want to help create a stabilizing middle class. We want the locals to have ownership to Othalo. Gunvald, which is partner of me, is part of Othalo, is present in the conference. He will, if there is some wish to have further meetings with me or the organization about Othalo, Gunvald will help you do that. Set up meetings so that we can discuss things further and solutions. Because what we are doing is licensing this out, so this is meaningful for partners for potential partners to approach us to do good locally, regionally, and nationally. That's what I'm going to I've actually always spent my time. If there's any questions, I will take them now. If not, you're free to email me personally at frank@othalo.com. Really easy. Or you could talk to Gunvald to set up a meeting.
Frank, thank you so much for that informative presentation on Othalo and what it is about, what its vision and what it is busy doing. I have just some questions. I'm not sure whether we should direct it to you, or can we invite Gunvald yeah, maybe Gunvald can come up onto the stage, and since he's present here, I'm sure he'd be in a position to also add value and to explain to us exactly what is going on as well. So we'll direct the questions to Gunvald, if that's okay with you, Frank, and you can chip in wherever it's necessary.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. So we know that Otalo has its origins in Norway, and it's a program that has been born from the global plastic pandemic, so we can refer to it. I'd like to know, you did mention that Otalo is already effective outside of Norway. Now, for the benefit of those that are online, who are also members from the African continent, if you can just share whether which other countries in Africa Otalo has its presence already. Gustav, Gunvald, sorry.
Yes, thanks for bringing me up. Well, Frank knows more about each region than I do, but I know we are in both Kenya, in Ghana, Ethiopia. Am I missing someone right now, Frank?
We are also looking into project in Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Nigeria. There's been a lot of interest in Nigeria, which we're looking into together with really good potential partners. And we are also looking at, as part of the African Women Development Organization agreement, we're looking into Uganda. We have requests from most, I think we've got requests from most African countries. But we have to start somewhere, and we have to find the right partners before we move forward. Right now, we're putting up what we call the regional hub, East Africa, Otalo East Africa, and we have been already in discussions with potential partners to put up Otalo South Africa.
Thank you, Frank. Now we know that part of the Otalo vision is from plastic trash to modern homes. Now I also understand that Otalo does not only deal with modern homes, but you have other commodities that you are also involved in, like storage and some other stuff. Maybe you want to just share that with some of our guests that may have needs for those products.
Yeah. Is it okay, Gunvald, that I talk about it? Because this is something that's really close to my heart.
Please, Frank, continue.
In the world today, 1/3 of all food produce is lost due to the lack of cold chain. In Africa alone, $12.5 billion worth of vaccines and medicines are lost each year due to the lack of cooling chains. So what we have been able to do with the same patent, within the same patent, and production methodic, is to create what we call TCMSUs, temperature-controlled mobile storage units, which is small cooling units, solar-powered, that you could dispense or put out anywhere in the rural areas, so that farmers and communities could have their own cold storage unit where they could put their produce before it gets to market. Small fishing villages could have their own storage unit to keep the fish good before it gets to market. this is something that's several, both countries, companies and organizations, amongst other several UN organizations, have been really keen about, because this, if done right, it could actually help reduce on a really affordable and really easily accessible way to reduce the world's need for food, affordable food, because a proper cold storage chain would increase the farmers or the fishermen's salaries and still reduce the cost for the consumer at the market. So that is something we, on the website, we talk more about. So you could go read there. This is something we are putting up a production line now in Portugal, as well as the one we are having in Poland. So that is one of our main products. With other two is what we call first effort building and modular buildings. We haven't focused as much as that. It's based on the same technology, where you can go into war zones or catastrophic areas where you need a proper home really fast. Not as not instead of tents, which you see a lot is being dispersed, but as a next phase, you could do that, where you need to build up or create homes really fast in a war or natural disaster. So,
thank you, Frank. One final question to Kunvald. So we have. So Frank has spoken about partnerships and looking at people with same core values that of Utalo, so that those partnerships can develop. For the benefit of our guests, both here and online, for those that are interested, what are the criteria to be involved with Utalo, or how would you go about identifying suitable partners so that you can get involved with them, so that this can become a reality, whether in their local municipalities, and what are the criteria so that they can now start to look forward to joining Utalo and becoming a part of this wonderful innovation?
Well, first of all, we are open for almost any request. We are looking for big industrial partners when it comes to putting up the factories and moving forward in a big scale. But we are also looking at developers, property developers, companies that has good synergies. You know, as you said, you're speaking about the women organizations. We are looking at a lot of different things. So if anyone wants to hear more about this and have suggestions and ideas and see synergies, please contact us. We will look at it. We will find good ways to work forward together. We will put up meetings with me and Frank and other people from the organization if necessary to see how we best can find solutions that sorts the different challenges that we have.
Right. So finally, so it does not necessarily have to be people with big bank balances and with finances that you're looking at synergizing, but with people who have genuine needs for housing, and obviously they can contact you, and from there the partnerships can develop and grow between themselves and yourselves.
Absolutely, everything is possible, and we are working, of course, with different government solutions, and we will look at different financial solutions for projects ongoing and so on. So of course, please, you're welcome to contact us at any given point.
All right, and you are contactable on?
Well, I'm in Johannesburg now for the rest of the week at least, yeah. But I'm available at my phone on WhatsApp +47 976-08-820.
All right, we're going to go a little slower for those that are online. I know a lot of our guests here are writing that down, so just go a little slower.
Yeah, you can contact me on WhatsApp. Number is +47 976 08-820.
All right, and the website for the benefit of everyone else?
Is othalo.com. OTHALO.com.
.com. All right, we want to take this opportunity to say thank you to you, Frank, for that exceptionally motivational and informative expose on Othalo. I think you've opened our minds to an exceptional innovation, especially with the housing shortage in South Africa here, and I think across the continent as well. And I'm sure that both yourself and Gunvald are going to be very busy taking a lot of calls and stuff like that. So once again, thank you very much, Frank, and also thank you so much, Gunvald. We really appreciate your time here. It's back to Dr. Molapo for the next segment.
Let's give it up for the TV personality, Reg Thomas, my lawyer. Guys, can we show the 5 minutes video, the actual thing that Frank and Gunvald? Can we show? Yeah, let's watch the video. And then MEC, we're back. Again, the Lord is working things together. It's renewable, it's plastics, then ons gaan praat, and then allow people to have a Q&A, okay? Thank you. Let's watch Othalo.
We soon need 3. This is our home, our one planet. But to sustain our current lifestyle, we soon need 3. We are many people, 7.8 billion, and fast becoming more. Everyone needs a safe place to live. And while many can take that for granted, almost 1 billion live in slums. And the paradox is that while many barely have enough to get by, our planet is suffocating from massive overconsumption. Since 1950, over 9 billion tons of plastic have been produced. Only 9% has been recycled. We are filling up our world with plastic trash, and every year, more than 8 million tons of plastic end up in our oceans. Plastic pollution damages our ecosystems and threatens life on Earth. But what if we could utilize one problem, the mountains of plastic waste, to solve another, the housing crisis? Othalo's patented technology can make that happen. By upcycling plastic waste and turning it into sustainable, eco-friendly buildings with modern living standards, we can mass-produce affordable houses, refugee shelters, temperature-controlled mobile storage units for food and medicines, schools and hospitals. We build safe, vibrant, affordable, resilient, and sustainable communities designed for the local needs. The Othalo system is designed to be flexible, and your imagination will unleash its endless possibilities. Through a series of modules that lock into each other, almost any building can be designed. A single 60 square meter Othalo home upcycles 8 tons of plastic. With the plastic waste polluting our planet right now, over 1 billion homes can be produced. So, what if we use one problem to solve another? What if we use the massive mountains of plastic waste to build millions of affordable homes? And what if we manufacture on site, using local raw materials, and create thousands of jobs in the process? We invite you to join us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Otalo a wonderful round of applause. Wow. You know, MEC, it's answering. Sure, I'm sorry. Thank you. You know, MEC, it's answering 3 of my problems, Aquafresh. One, you know my pain point. Even I remember when I launched that thing a couple of years ago, when we just got into politics, these unemployed graduates. Number 2, unemployed TVET graduates. Then unemployed matriculants. And then youth at risk. So this, from the first presentation and the second presentation, answers that. Then later on, you're going to find from Ulwembu. Just raise your hand, Ulwembu. The CEO is here. They now, when you build these houses, make sure they are green friendly, the data or data, whatever. And then the third thing is job creation. And I mean, when I heard that guy, Dr. Sadesh, was he smoking something? Did he say we can have a GDP of 20% MEC? Did I hear that correctly? Did I hear that correctly, guys?
That was
Donald Ndlovu. Did he say 20%? Did you hear the statistics, or I had my notes when MEC was speaking? What about 1.4? She said 1.4, 1.9. That's what you said. I mean, I'm not belittling, but those are the figures.
Yes.
But this guy said, without overseas just using local stuff, 20%.
Right.
Before we go up there, Chairperson Mutusi, stand up, let the people see you. Al-Chaplain Tate Mutusi Matsoho. He's sitting close to my... did they give you a Viking? You know those guys, Viking. What in Chebe? You know, look at Gunvald in Chebe. Gunvald, we must put a get it coin on that. Thank you so much. And then Mulifi, I did introduce you also, is that right? Thank you so much. Ebon Foresight, Property Group Chairperson, Date Mutusi. We also wanted the right time when you have a question and answer. Please, we'd like for you just to share something there. Let me ask 1 or 2 questions, MEC, and I want people just to fire questions. Is that okay, ladies, gentlemen? Okay. So, thanks so much again for this powerful talk. I know we had some disturbance, but for me today, Dr. Sadesh and Otalo, if those 2 things, NAVCOG, that special economic zone, just those 2 things today, they've made my day before we open for question and answer. What would you say, MEC?
No, absolutely, Dr. Malapo, and I thought that this would be an ideal platform to talk about the sector and the potential that the sector has. And it's enough that as governments, we are able to find, you know, little precious diamonds across some of our own South Africans who have moved out of this country to really understand what the global opportunities are, but to bring it back into this country and drive not only transformation, but growth in a particular sector that is unknown. It's refreshing, and it provides us with hope. And I thought, you know, this platform would be ideal because we are talking to the relevant individuals across the room and across the online platforms, where if we could hold hands and like Runvald mentioned, you know, everybody's welcome. Dr. Sadesh says everybody's welcome. This is one of the biggest and greatest solutions to poverty and unemployment. And it is up to us to take it on. And we need to think big, Doc, like you're saying, think big. And let's be fearless, let's be brave, and let's try and do something a lot different to what we usually think of doing.
And what I like, MEC, and then Sbu, if we can get ready for the question and answers, yeah. What I like is, I think also, and I'm one of those people who, I'm a little bit negative about government right now. It's another talk shop, we do this trade delegation, we meet and we meet. So what I like about you is, even if you, though you are an MEC of finance, you think outside this box that I spoke about yesterday. And that's why we honor you. I think let's put our hands together for MEC, that, you know, while we appreciate government, but we need to move on. So folks, Aus Oma, number 1, she's always fast. Number 2, from NAVCOG, I like that, Aus Oma. 1, 2, and Mutusi, be on standby because they're going to be asking some couple of questions. Going, 2, also other question, going, 2, or 3, and then 4. Okay, those 4 questions. Let's start with, with Aus Oma, and then 2, 3 right there, and then Aus Roxanne will be number last. Go ahead, Aus Oma.
Thank you, Dr. Mulapo. First of all, let me just thank God for using you. He has been very consistent with you, and I thank you and your helper, Mrs. Mulapo. This is a very, very intimate topic again at our age, MEC. I'm older, you can see.
Use the word mature, man. It's mature. Mature, it's much
I'm
better.
matured. Thank you, doctor. You've been my teacher since I was a banker at the age of 21. So learning is a process, but it is very sad, MEC, that you are again addressing matured ladies with the same problem. And I feel you, I can see the passion, and I just pray to God that may He just have mercy on us, South Africa. Your presentation is very, very touching. Yeah, like Dr. Mulapo said, I'm Oma, I'm Lydia, and I've embraced these two names because I'm the matriarch. You know, Oma means the granny that takes care of her grandkids. And we've been promised that we have to take care of the future generation. So I founded Women Developing Others out of that pain to say, God, it is what it is. We didn't participate economically in our country at the age that was appropriate, but it is not late. God, may you use me to bridge the gap between the matured generation and the younger women after me to the youth. So Women Developing Others, it's all about this because we are taking care of everybody. So we are strongly linked. And that's what I said to Dr. Mulapo. I said, WDO is no longer about me. I tried me. We were excited when democratic economic participation, we were professional women. We did quit our jobs with excitement to think that we will be economically vibrant. Okay, it didn't happen. But one had to step up and say, I'm still creative, wonderfully made, young women, professional women, like Dr. Mulapo says, they are part of that high unemployment. Some of them, they couldn't even come here. There is no political will, MEC. Now it's worrisome that what is going to happen to another generation that Dr. Mulapo is highlighting. So any matured woman like me will come out of her comfort zone and not complain and say, let me partner with the policies because I know the policies. They were saying Batupele concept. It was never implemented. Now what is going to happen? Now the political distraction, I'm listening and with maturity, as Dr. Mulapo says, I know the political distraction. I'm like, okay, here is my comrade, my leadership. That is so passionate about this. That is willing to partner with us, Batu. But before we know it, will she be sustained in her job? When the conferences, when the political turmoil come, you know? And those are another concepts like he says, Dr. Mulapo. So Women Developing Others, it's no longer about an individual, it's about that inequality that is now affecting even our children. The grannies, the grandfathers are now helping their educated children to pay the fees at the kindergarten. It's across the board. The research showed me just a week ago that South African women are at 19% in participation economically, more than Uganda, Kenya, and Nigeria. I just want to find out from you, my leadership, how do those countries, our fellow brothers and sisters, do it? How do they do it? We are at the lowest. It is painful. poverty is affecting everyone. The rich have disappeared. Money is scarce, even for food, even for taxis. People are losing houses. It is painful, it is dark. Thank you.
Gosh, that is a very interesting and loaded question or statement. But my sentiments with you, absolutely 100%. And why I feel that I may still bring solutions, even if I am with government, and even though many are disgruntled by government. Perhaps it was my private sector upbringing, but it's also about my core and ethics and values. And when you deal with matters of values and ethics, it is rich in religious beliefs and perhaps to a certain extent cultural beliefs, and the ability to know that you're not placed on the earth for yourself. You're placed on earth for humanity. So, when you state the issues of political turmoil, conferences, where thou still remain, I'm still an advocate of female development. Prior to me coming into government, whether I belong to a party or not, whether I belong to an organization or not, I felt, and it is because of who I am, and I'll just shortly, I come from also a very, very poor family. And my first salary was 800 Rand a month, of which I'd give to my entire family, to my mom as rent, and she would give me back. And I was 23, I started at the bank at 19, but I was 23 learning principles of savings. 23 and I owned a small property. It cost me about 290,000 Rand. But knowing to purchase an asset brought me financial freedom. Because with that same asset, I'm able to leverage lending to do other things. I could purchase other things. I could develop my family's balance sheet, the net asset value, through the one asset. And that's creating liquidity within the asset, right? So my passion is women and financial liberation. Not only because we know what a woman in poverty has to experience. Abuse, patriarchy. A woman in poverty is that woman who will make sure not only her children, grandchildren, the neighbors' children, the family, the communities are surviving. I know what it means when you need to get out of a marriage, out of a family, and have nothing and walk away with nothing. So women empowerment in terms of the true financial sense, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a producer, the owner and controller of production. You could also work. I earned a salary. I never earned business income or industrialization income, but it helps you formulate a strategy to be able to be financially free. And age, you are experienced. You've seen the world through the good, the bad, the ugly. You are able to guide us women in terms of good times, bad times, but you also know the political dynamics. And like any other country outside of just South Africa and our current political, if I could say, position, it is the same across many other countries in the world. But we survive. Why? Because of that experience, because you have survived changes in regime, from an apartheid regime across to other changes in regime. Political factions have come into play. So all of those matters, you are still relevant, absolutely relevant today. And if we are not in the positions that positions of power, in fact, being in a government position, as an MEC is not a position of power, because I don't have a voice any longer. I need to have a government voice, but I don't have an advocacy voice. I don't have the robust, radical, strong voice that I would have had being an advocacy of a certain matter outside of government. So whether we're in organizations or whether we're in the private sector or the public sector or in positions of power or leadership, we women have a voice, and that voice must not go unheard. I was in the private sector. I dealt transformation in the private sector. I started as a private banker. There was one black judge that was in private banking. I asked the question, didn't care whether I'd be fired the next day or not. But we've got municipalities. These people in municipalities earn over more than 500,000 rand per annum. Why are they not in private banking? In 2 years, I built 2 portfolios of 70 black private banking clients, 2 portfolios, 140 black private banking clients in 2 years. I was a staff performer. I went on nice trips that the bank put me on because I brought that income. Similarly with commercial banking, I looked after 10 million and above businesses. 4 clients were in the commercial banking. It was a petrol station, it was a Caltex and an engine garage. And I think the one was a Woolworths clothing in Kwakwa, Putadichaba. And again, I asked the question. And I went out there and I developed a portfolio of black business people. And I looked at tenders in government and I saw that these ones, this one has so many tenders, these are their turnovers, and I brought them all into my portfolio. So transformation and empowerment and your voice doesn't have to be in an environment or in a position or in age. Nothing defines you but your ability to be able to talk about your own advocacy as long as it's in line with your humanitarian, ethical, and values goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MEC. And I'm privileged because I know Auxoma, she kicks butt, okay? Don't let that little petite, no. She's full of nonsense. If, I'm her elder, I can say that. Because what she believes in, she goes for it. So she must be an inspiration. I said yesterday, sometimes as mentors, we must be humble enough to also be mentored by the young ones. So she is all about money, empowerment, and I think you heard from the speech. So thank you so much. The CEO of NAFCOC Ntate, the next question.
Good. I don't feel comfortable sitting.
You can stand, my brother. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. There you go.
Good morning, Honorable MMC, esteemed doctor, Your Excellencies, my colleagues, all protocol observed, and especially to our sponsors, Ulwembu, Skyco, RUP, and you
did well by mentioning Skyco because the CEO just showed up. Come on, Troy, stand up, let them see you. Troy, you can't sneak in like that. That's the CEO. He just snuck in. Just stand up, let the people see you. And I'm going to interview you later. That's him there. So thanks so much. You did not know he snuck in. You just saw a guy. That's the man. That's the CEO of Skyco. Thank you, bro.
Welcome, sir.
We got cut off, but we're going to give time. Then I'm still going to interview you just to say thank you, okay? Go ahead.
Welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Honorable Member of the Executive Council of the Free State Province in the financial portfolio. Yesterday, I touched a little about special economic zones. 25 years ago, I planted a seed on developing a special economic zone framework document and a proposal through the public-private partnership initiatives from my local municipality in Vanderbijl Park up to the national government, the Department of Trade and Industry. By then it was Dr. Rob Davis. And I'm humbled. Thank you very much. And also the Emeritus Dr. Lionel October. Yes. So, ma'am, I'm very happy to allude to what you have mentioned about also your passion about your special economic zones, which maybe you are busy developing and maybe still developing in small scales. The problem is good people are afraid to join hands, while bad people come together and join hands and get what they want. But good people, we are scared to join hands and to help and to do the work of God by helping other people. I'm passionate about enterprise supply development. I've worked at multinational ArcelorMittal as a group, corporate vendor management and procurement and logistics, and small, medium, micro enterprises. If we can look around Europe and all developing and developed countries, let's take example the Asian tigers, so Taiwan, or Japan. 80% of the job created in those Asian tigers are from small, medium, micro enterprises. Where was Samsung 10 years ago? Where was Hyundai 20 years ago? And these industrial-driven Asian tigers, today they are globetrotters as far as developing small, medium, micro enterprises. It is very important, and also according to United Nations Department of Economic Cooperation and Development, it states that to build a successful and a sustainable industrialization, which is a diamond national key competitive factor, you have to create 10 sectors, which is industrialization, advanced manufacturing, agriculture, and information technology. I just mentioned a few. It is important that when we build these special economic zones, we must have an innovation hub within the special economic zones, which will look upon the small, medium, micro enterprises, which means it's township economy. Because maybe it's impossible to balance the first world.
But Mokosana, because of time, maybe just let's shoot straight to the question. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we are just against time. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Wanted to answer those questions.
My apologies, Team Doctor. Ma'am, actually, it's not a question. It's about how to build those synergies and partnership between our provinces, because Free State and Gauteng are very together. So we like with Dr. Mulapo, Ulwembu and Skyco, Utalo, and other stakeholders within Gauteng that, and also women empowerment, that we can build and create synergies within ourselves for the future generations of our great-grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Tate Makosana, remember I challenged you privately. MEC, I'm going to also say that. He is passionate about the special economic zone. Yes. So, Mebra, I want to challenge you. We need to go and check what they're doing. Because now, Gauteng, even Free State beat us, even leading metric, Mebra, number 2. You know. So, what did you say? Because I feel, again, I don't like conferences. I must have return on investment. I want to encourage you to say, would you have a problem if you can take some of the other people, like Babu Makosana, from NATCOC and some other women organization, youth, people with disability, maybe to come and see what you are doing? Because you're doing some wonderful things in the Free State. Is that right? Yeah, because not every good thing and perfect comes from Gauteng now. What would you say to that?
No, I'd welcome it. But before I welcome it, Ndati, I thank you so much, and thank you for developing the white paper on special economic zones. And once again, your experience, your foresight, look what it's led to today. Not knowing that we're going to have this very poor economic trajectory, and it's only through industrialization that we can change the face of South Africa. So you've been part of building that. So congratulations. Please give him a round of applause. But yes, Doc, I'd love for you to come, but I still believe that our Free State, Maluti Apufung Special Economic Zone is not where we need it to be. I'm going to be honest with you. In fact, the Dubé Trade Port, Kucha, is far more advanced than Free State. And I'm going to, accept criticism where I need to accept criticism. I don't think we're doing enough. But what I do know is that part of the work that you'd like us to do, Ubaba, is we need to create a one-stop shop. Yes. You know, Doc, the challenge that investors have is that they have to go to that Department of Labor, or they must go to that Department of SARS, or they must go speak to so many people in the municipality in Maluti Apofung, or there's no one that can actually do a stress analysis on the cost value chain or the cash flow, or to be able to say, okay, if I had to produce this, take my operations out to export it there through Dubai instead of Gauteng, customs port, what is the cost difference? How is it going to affect my bottom line? What is the infrastructure requirement to be able to take my goods to the market more efficiently? Those are the questions that cannot be answered at the special economic zone, but it's the solutions we need at the special economic zone to be able to make an investor feel like this person understands the rand. This person understands that we've got 56, almost 57 million people in South Africa. This is my market. What is the need of this market that I've got here, and how do I bring it into the special economic zone and ensure that we facilitate sufficient offtakes for whichever product they're producing. But further to that, from a government perspective in Ndati, what we should have done is incentivize investors. So a special economic zone can write to Treasury and say, electricity, the normal tariff for business and industry is X, can you reduce it by 1 rand, 2 rand, 3 rand, or whatever it may be, so that you make this special economic zone more competitive than other economic zones, and that my cost of utilizing this premises is a lot cheaper than it would be elsewhere, so that I could be able to produce more, export more, etc. But lastly, and further to that, on the enterprise development, we've also created linkages, Doc, at a policy level, where we're saying that if you are producing screws for a certain machine, and you're producing it at Kucha as an example, and you're producing the machine in Maluti, when this Maluti Apofung procures, they must start first at the other economic zones and make sure that local is lekker. You're procuring from the special economic zones. We're making sure that there is sufficient uptake, and also the sustainability lasts a little bit longer. But also localization. Do you know how much steel, how much metal, how many other commodities we import? But the commodities are right here in terms of a raw value in South Africa. So it's taken, that entire commodity, as an example, is taken out of South Africa. Let's take Toyota. Toyota procures the sheepskin from just outside Colesberg, Karib. They export it to Turkey for tanning, this, that, or the other. They bring it back to Utenake Toyota to be able to assemble and put onto the seats of a Toyota car. So just imagine how that piece of leather has now moved outside of our country. Imagine if we could, you know, when we talk about losses and when we talk about investment outflows, this is the losses that we're making from a tax perspective, from a fiscal perspective. Some of the work that we could do here that could ring fence and just generate a lot more jobs and so much more income and so much more ability to deal with funding for services and other aspects. So it is critical and imperative and important. And I'd love for you to come visit our special economic zone. And I'd love for you, Ndati, to come sit down with my CEO and just give her the background and the passion and the guide and the future. Because often we breed leaders today that are not visionary. Yes. You have been visionary in terms of the way you wrote your paper. You knew that today, after COVID, a pandemic, we're going to have to prioritize industrialization. And guess what? An SEZ is part of that solution. So we've got to guide our future leaders. And our future leaders, unfortunately, and when we're talking about mentorship and succession, the person I am today, I might look young, but I didn't jump or leapfrog into this position. I grew. I started working at the age of 16. I had to find my passion. I had to learn about what it is that I wanted to do. And I grew into roles. Yes, sometimes I felt like I was a transformation quota, because at the time we had
But
to
you maximize that.
we absolutely, but I've had to learn, and I had to develop, and I had to grow, and I had to study. I had to pay for my studies. I'm still paying for my MBA. I'm still doing and continuing to learn. So when we breed CEOs and individuals who have to take over some of this work, we need to have visionary, well understood, well thought out leader. And the challenge that we do in our doc, and I think maybe this is another seminar for you for another day, is how do we prepare young people for interviews? Because an interview cannot only be theory. It cannot only be based on what it is that you know that's in a book, or you have to deal with competency, you have to deal with experience, you have to deal with core, and we forget about personality. And you know what makes us successful is attitude, more than anything else. If you have the right attitude, you've got an attitude to learn, you've got an attitude to grow, you've got an attitude to I have to take criticism every day. You'll never see me wake up depressed because I'm told this, that, or the other. My family challenges me the same way you have challenged me about being disgruntled about government. There are certain things that we don't agree with. And I too, within my own sphere of the organization that I work for. But we've got to be resilient, and that's the type of leaders we have to bring to the fore, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Marco Sanis. You bring the passion in. I mean, like I said, people might have thought you are crazy. But put this thing in, I've challenged you. You need to put it in a book. Because my concern is SEC, Special Economic Zone. Yeah? Yeah, but we need to talk afterwards. But thanks so much. 2 more questions, Ntate. Yeah, and then we still have the last question. Yeah. From Ulwembu.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, MC. Quite a refreshing session, especially those two, it's quite exciting. New stuff always bring freshness with it. The question for me, which I agree with Doc, it's a little bit exciting, the property one. Our country has a problem in that space, especially if you can do both, 2 birds with 1 stone. I understand the property space, and I know there's a little bit of regulation in that space. So a project like this, would it have to go through your NHBRCs first, right? Or, I mean, how would you put this on the ground? I understand, Gustav, you said you don't have it in the country yet. I don't see Gustav anymore. Is he gone? All right, yes. So to deploy something like this, so from a regulatory environment, what would need to happen? Would there be some assistance, maybe from your quarters or maybe national? How would that happen? Because I think, I'll take typical Free State. It is something that you can take your graduates, put them into a consortium and give that as a project that they could develop in that space. Yeah. So, but from a legal point of view, how would you do it?
Before she answers, I think she mentioned one, I think it was number 3 or 4. Let me see when you made, or your speaker made, I think the triple PE, I think it was point number 4. You see, that is why we're here. What I like about this MC, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, and if we're not careful in Gauteng, or some of you watching online, she'll take those 2 projects, immediately identify some young people. It's the whole thing of private-public partnership. Yeah. Ulwembu example, you're bringing the technology piece, and then we find somebody who can give the land, then maybe some initial or seed capital from the government, and then the coaching and incubation stuff, as Ntate said, those innovation hub. But let's hear from the MEC. What I like about her, she's not a talker, she is a doer. Listen to this. Remember, I don't preempt. So something like those 2 projects, MEC, practically as we wrap up, what would you say? How can we now take those 2 as an example? We got unemployed women, some of them in rural areas, some of them, as Ausoma said, professionals. How do we make these things now a reality?
It is a reality. In the Free State, we're also using alternative building technology. So there was a school, if I'm not mistaken, that we've done through alternative building technology. Housing is a little bit different because our people want brick and mortar. So from a political perspective, you know, we have to understand what the people require and what they need. And yes, although it is going to be so much cheaper for government, I could see us develop some reserves in our coffers if we had to go an alternative building technology route. It is absolutely the future. We know that even in the most turmoiled weather conditions, and you know, in the United States we've had tornadoes, hurricanes, and so many crazy weather conditions. These type of alternative building technologies have been able to stand throughout all those weather conditions. So they are tried and tested, and we've just got to prove that to our people, that they tried and tested, and that they work, and that they are the same as a brick and mortar home. So I don't think we're bold enough, personally, as government. I believe we are not bold enough to say, let us pilot one area just on alternative homes, alternative building homes. But what we can do, and what I think is important, yes, NHBRC has allowed for alternative building solutions. Rwanda is doing it, I know that. Some of our various African countries are also utilizing it. And I mean, like you've seen the UK and the US is also, and also in India, they've also utilized alternative building solutions. So I think it's about political will, but it's about really being able to generate the right discussion with our people, creating a paradigm, a shift in thinking. And when that happens, it talks to participation. It talks to being able to go onto the ground and say to our people that this is definitely, you know, the way for the future. And actually, these are even bigger and better benefits than what you would see with traditional brick and mortar. So I think for us, it's going to take time. And I don't think our policies or our legislation blocks it out completely, because we have built in the Free State. But I think what we should do is also have a further conversation. And then on packaging, Doc, there's some people that I know that deals with international investments. You know, the issue that Dr. Sadesh raised around guarantees, government guarantees. They look at certain bonds. They look at investments in US dollars from certain other banks. What the financial institutions across the world, they have to put aside, in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, they have to put a certain portion of their, I could say, liquidity in their banks. So where they pledge deposits, funds like from savings or from businesses, it goes into a depository account, it sits there. You're looking at long-term deposits, 5 years, 3 years, a year. Those then are allocated in terms of generating future investments. And that's how come you have your provident funds. So they ask you, do you want to invest in cash, in shares, property, or whatever it may be. Now, that then is set aside because the funds are not guaranteed to go out later than the period that it's invested in. So they utilize that to develop programs like this, and they utilize that as guarantees for whichever projects linked to their priorities. And then as the repayment comes in, equity repayments or other repayments against the project, it goes back to that specific bank. So in terms of that asset value, that's leveraging finance for other projects linked to a certain priority of a government. Now, China is large on environmental goals. The US too recently, but mostly Europe. Europe has got the biggest and largest chunk of funding. And largely, like I stated in the last seminar, Doc, and I must add this, the biggest facilitator of where capital goes is through financial markets. So the financial systems, apart from some of the work that we're going to do, apart from the commodities that we have and the tangible assets that we have, there's going to be a reset in the financial markets to restabilize the current economic environment, perhaps in the next year or 2 years. So these are opportunities for us now to leverage off some of the work that other countries are doing, bring in those investments, work on some of these aspects, and then allow it for it to happen. Property is still, and this type of investments, because this is also property, it's infrastructure, it's capital projects, it is still one of the better investments moving forward. So I think you guys are in the right session at the right time. Thank you very much, Doc.
Before we say bye-bye to MEC, tomorrow there's a young guy by the name of Rector David, okay? In May, we're having a big investment conference without government. He's going to be here, and he's going to be mentioning, young guy, Namibian guy, made millions, and he's pumping, and one of the things is looking at partnership, but he missed the date. He thought the MEC is going to be tomorrow, so he's only coming tomorrow. But Gunvald and Molefe are still there. With Otalo, we want to see what can we do with a private-public partnership, so that also with a Free State government, some other corporations, hospitals, and things like that. But if we are slow in South Africa, remember His Excellency is going to be here tomorrow. Africa is ready. I just came with Arnold and other guys. We just came from the continent. We went to different places. Trust me, the guys are ready. So thank you, MEC. Or you're not going to be running. You're with us the whole day. You are always, we pray for you. As they say in Afrikaans, it's niet pap and flakes. Government is niet pap and flakes. But we are proud of you and continue to be a beacon of hope, you know, in this position. I know during lunchtime there will be networking opportunities, but please, let me request, Burundeni, where's the Chief of Staff? Please, if you want to get a hold of the MEC, stand up, let the people see my brother. Got to protect my sister here. You know, all the cards and all the everything, let them see you. This is the man, okay? You cannot go to her. You can meet her, take pictures, no problem. But please, if you need any, you know, cards and things like that, let's just follow protocol. Let's do that, because I don't want you to say, well, I spoke to the MEC. Your MEC did not deliver, whatever. She's here to support us. She wants to meet particularly the sisters and other investors. But Morandeni, Chief of Staff, give boss, my brother, give boss. I'm trying for a performance appraisal. She says, hey, you know, for a raise, you never know. Yeah. MEC, I know that you have supported us, the ICANN, we love, we appreciate you. Faith and I, the ICANN team, I don't know you now here. They don't know, I know you way back. Yeah. But anything also we can do to come and support your work, it's all about collaboration. Molefe and Gunvald, we're going to be, you know, continuing to talk about this Otalo. And Taten Dovu, please, let's see how we can work together to get the IT piece in there. Final words, MEC, and then we need to continue. I see Dr. Mariri is already here. Stand up, Mariri. He's going to talk about addiction in a couple of minutes. 10 years now clean. I mean, it's a powerful story that you're going to be hearing as CEOs. Give him a good round of applause. Abner, right there. Thank you.
Now, let me first be grateful and thankful to the Almighty for the opportunity to bring us all together here today. I think, you know, it's the decision through him that this is the team that was supposed to work on this big, powerful new sector. But I also want to say Kia leboha Ndate, Dr. Malapo and Mawe, Faith Malapo. I think we are very humbled under your leadership. Leadership is a vertical, yeah, vertical, right? No, it's horizontal. That's the word I'm looking for. It's horizontal. We don't look at development through organograms and on top here and the bottom here. It is a straight line. And development happens in integration. So thank you to such a wonderful audience, to the sponsors for making this possible, to everyone who stayed throughout the day. I know it had been a little bit long, but it was very relevant. And mostly to the hosts and to all of you who had been part of putting today together. Thank you so much. And it just brings us great value, and it makes me feel like I've served my purpose today. When I say today has been a great day in the office, this has been a great day in the office. Away from the paperwork, away from the ability to sign off a structure, it is about being able to do. And I think there are doers in this room, definitely and absolutely so many doers in this room. So I'm happy to network. I'm happy to link you to the relevant individuals. It may not be Treasury, it may not be my department, but I would be able to talk through, if not in the Free State, but other areas of the country. I've got quite a few networks there that are doing very, very good work. We almost gravitate towards each other. Those who try and do good work, we gravitate towards each other. Doc talks so much about some of the work that we do. So congratulations, and I wish you the greatest amount of bravery and the greatest amount of strength as we tackle this great South Africa together, and we try and change the world in our own little space. And as we do one thing at a time, there's a huge and big and great difference that we're making that creates a bigger and larger impact that we don't even know about. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands for MEC, Khadija Brown. We still have 2 or 3 more presentations. I know you're going to be blessed there. Thank you so much, Mama. Let's give her a wonderful, yeah. Thank you. Can you have, Aus Roxanne, because of time, please stand up. Mental health issues. Mental health issues. What would you say? I know you'll talk to the MEC privately there. Just give us some nuggets because of time. We want to maximize our television time live and online. You're a life coach. The theme today is on the whole. Yeah, please come up here, let the people see you. You're a life coach, and being a life coach, obviously, as you heard from the MEC, a lot of things are, Andre, you said it, coveted to accelerate certain things. Now, renewable energy is now accelerating certain things. But as leaders, give us some nuggets because, you know, stress, anxiety, depression, suicide is becoming a problem. What would you say to the people live and online on the issues of mental health?
For me, most important is having a growth mindset. We're coming out of COVID, we're coming out of fear factor. I've mentioned it a few times, and in most of the workshops we do with youth, women, the fear is so great. And you hear it from most of these people that have stood up to ask questions. It's about what do we do next? Who is there to help us? And growing your mindset is being in the right room with the right people like Dr. Molefe. I mean, I met him a week ago, and he was like, I need you in my room. I need you to meet certain people because there's an impact we need to make. And I understand that. At the moment, I think we're in a stagnant mindset where fear is kicked in. We're dealing with families. So we need to get back into exercising the mind, you know, jogging the mind. And we get into that growth mindset, healing mindset, because we've got to heal each other. Many of us have buried family, and we haven't even seen that family, right? And that's a scary thing. We've had to say goodbye to loved ones, friends, and families, and we're not at the funeral for closure. Normally, closure is when we get to the funeral, we see there's somebody being buried, we go home, there's a wake happening, we all pray. And this time around, when we were losing family, friends, colleagues, there was only going to be a goodbye in our mind. Goodbye in our mind is very difficult, because there's no closure in the heart. It's like, I'm going to see him. I'm sure he's going to give me a call. And that becomes a mental distress, mental disease, a dis-ease. I feel uncomfortable. So if I were you, it's like, this is a room that you just feel positive. When you leave out of here, you feel like you can run. So for me, I would say to every single one of you, be with the right person. Connect with the right people. If you are not feeling good, if you just feel stressed out, if you feel that today has been such a difficult day for me, then reach out to the right person, whether it's a family member. Sometimes for me, and I always say to my clients, I say to my students, I say to all the academics that I train, sometimes we've got to divorce the negative people in our lives. Sometimes we've got to say, you no longer serve me with the negativity that I'm carrying on the shoulders of mine, that you are weighing me down. And it's okay to give people a time out. Firstly, the only way that you can heal yourself is to fill your own cup with love. And as women, I'm talking to women first, we always are feeding people from the love in that cup. So there's nothing left. We're tired, we get frustrated, we're on our partners, we're on our colleagues. There's just so much on your shoulders. First, fill your own cup. And the overflow that's in your saucer, that's for your kids, that's for your company, that's for your partner. Because the stresses that we're finding today has impacted the cells of our bodies. And we find more and more people are tired, and they say, I got pains in my body, I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling sick. I'm agitated, because your energy, your vibrational energy, where you normally are vibrant and you're attracting the right people, nobody wants to be around you. They just avoid you. You're the one sitting in a corner here when nobody wants to have you. So the most important thing, I heard what you said, MEC, and I fell in love with your word because it's my mantra. Your attitude determines your altitude. You can decide if you're going to be here, or you're going to just wake up in the morning, you're going to put on your favorite music. I don't know, let's show your hands. Who danced this morning? Whoa, you my kind of people. Yes, yes. And the rest of you that didn't, you should. You should dance because you're celebrating that you woke up this morning. It's your gift. God said one more day. So you dance for your day. You sing. I can't sing. My boys are like, whoa, woman, you are too much in the morning. Because I'm going to sing. And I have this thick voice in the morning. Gosh, it's really bad. But I'm going to sing because I'm celebrating. There's only one of me which is unique. Right? I'm not going to compare myself to anybody. I admire every single woman that is in this room, everybody that has dressed up, that showed up, that stepped up to say, you know what, today I'm going to empower myself. I'm going to be with the right people. And I mean, I'm truly in awe of you, Doctor. I'm truly in awe of you, of how you have networked and put people together in a room. And I mean, I spoke to Abdul late last night. We were talking about you. I said, I've met so many people throughout my life of transformational coaching, my business coaching, my training. I've met so many people, and you have impacted me the most. From all my international coaches, from the people that I know, just your tenacity to bring people together with your genuineness, your love. So for me, I'm in the right room. I'm in the right room with the right people, and just grow your mindset. Growing is like you need to put water on your seed. And if you don't grow your mindset, you become stagnant. Like, yes, there's so much of opportunity that has been given to us. And go home and go and do your due diligence. Go and check, what is it that I can do out of this? And if I can't do anything with what has been offered, who can I partner? Who's the right person that I can walk this journey with? Who's going to hold my hand that has the finance, that has the know-how, that has the betterment, but I have the energy. I have the tenacity to carry him forward. So two people are going to make this thing work because an investor is mostly a person that's going to say, show me a return on investment. And if you're the person sitting in this room that don't have the investor, find the right investor in this room and say, you know what, I have what it takes. I want you to have faith in me. And that's the mindset that you should have. So for me, Doc, I must just say again, I truly am in awe of you.
Thank you.
And to Faith as well, she's such an amazing human being. You know, the woman essence and power that I feel in this room, and I spoke about it yesterday. I want our women to remember something, that the most powerful men that grew me were men that came out of businesses that mentored me, that grew me. Being in petroleum, being in the mining industry, I was always in male sectors. And I'm truly grateful. I'm not about, I want to compete with any man. I'm not taking no men down. And I don't believe that men hold women down. I just believe that we are more subservient. We don't take our roles as women and say, step up, give me a place at the table. So for all those men that have grown me, and especially like Dr. Molepo, I'd like to say thank you so much. Women, find the right people in this room to collaborate with. There's amazing people, and I've networked with some powerful people here. So just find your right fit. Find the right people that you're going to walk your journey with, that you're going to transform your mindset from saying, you know what, I don't know what to do, I'm so scared, there's no opportunity, to saying the right guy is in this room, the right company is in this room, and the right person's going to take me to my next stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Roxanne. Give it to our Susan here. Oh, but Don, you wanted to say something, then the next will be our Susan, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I like that energy. In the room, we've got Mr. Godong Lee. He's the chairman of the Southern African Chinese Entrepreneurs Association. Mr. Lee, Chairman Lee, and I nearly said chairman, I nearly meant the other chairman, you know, who the Chinese here. Let's give chairman a wonderful round of applause. Thank you, sir. Pleasure, sir. Thank you. Oh, okay. Then we'll come to you. Susan, yesterday a lot of people, unfortunately, you had to run quickly. Yes. And I always preach that you must be kind to your mind. What kind of services do you offer? You've been a nurse for 30 years, but 2 or 3 immediate things that you offer, what would you say they are? Because there are business people here and also people watching. Share that quickly with us. Maybe 3 ones that are your cash cow. I want money now for you. So which ones are they? And please don't talk community stuff, okay? These are business guys. You must make money, then out of the money you can give to community. Is that okay? So I'm talking about money. Go ahead.
Okay. Morning, everyone. Thank you, MEC, Dr. Molapo, and Faith for being here or inviting me here. I know yesterday I actually was sitting in front there and I was going through a lot of questions, and I think everyone was confused in terms of what is it that I'm doing. What I'm doing is health is my passion. Anything that has to do with health is my passion. Whether home, whether work-related, community-related, that is me. I offer employee wellness programs to companies where I come and do health assessment, and over and above what I do, I normally say, you know what, I teach, I actually do health assessment, but I teach people about their health. I don't just say, come and do your blood pressure, this is it, and then you find it's okay, it's okay. No, I teach you what is normal, what is abnormal, what is it that you can do to actually correct that. Women, in terms of women, I go into let's say it's August is Women's Month. So I will do pap smears. But I'm not like a doctor. Remember when you do it from a doctor, what does he do? He just phones and say, your results are normal. And you just said, what is normal? What is it that is not normal? Do you ever take time to understand normal health conditions or abnormal? If you are taking a treatment, what are you taking? What is it for? But unfortunately, I think when we grew up, we were taught that you go to a doctor, he gives you an injection and tablets, you don't ask questions, you go. Till today, it's still the same concept. But I can tell you something. Since I started this in 2004, I realized when I do it nationally that incorporate white people actually know their health status. We blacks don't know. So this is now the turnaround time to say, I'm going to take care of my health and I'm going to understand my health. Whether you're doing it under a Vitality or under cash or as an outreach, because I do outreach projects, that's fine. But learn to understand your body and how it functions.
And now, Susan, because of time, how can people get a hold of you? I know you're here today, but I'm talking about those online.
Okay, those online,
yes,
they can actually call me. I'm actually setting up, I've got offices in Pasonia. You can get me through my cell number. I'll give you my cell number. It's 082-412-8572.
One more time.
082-412-8572. The other thing that I just want to add quickly is occupational health. I know, we're all talking about energy, renewable energy, how do we bring it, and then employment, and how is it? Remember, everything comes with a healthy mind. In occupational, you also have to do, for you to adhere to labor, you need to do your medicals as a company. You don't just employ people, put them in a place, and then you say, okay, fine, I'm making a difference in the community. I employed so many people. No, it doesn't end there. You need to comply. Know who a person who's working for you, you should understand that they do understand their status in terms of Occupational Health and Safety Act. Okay, my email address is Susan. You can have my email address, SUSAN @Setsing,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
SETSING health.co.za.
One more time.
Susan, SUSAN @Setsing, SETSING health.co.za. health.co.za. So when you talk of health, please think about Susan and yeah.
No, they must not think. They must go to you
They
with
must
their
all come.
credit.
We
Yeah,
must all
no.
come here. MEC,
Yes.
Free State is it's one of the places that I love. I was doing employee wellness program for Department of Communication, Government Communication. So Free State was one of the branches, yeah, so nationally I would go. I'm a mobile clinic, okay? So I travel nationally to go and do this. Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much. Our Susan, by the way, she's also one of our nurses. She does all of our vitality stuff, myself and Faith. So I thought let's also be able to promote. MEC, if we don't promote our people, who will do that? You know, so here it is, but again, do not forget 10% comes to the men of God and to ICARE and ICARE. Yeah, don't forget that. Don't forget that. We must be reminded, you know. Chairman Lee, we must remind the people. Sometimes we connect and people disconnect us, you know. So thanks so much. One more person, and Tate Terence, where's Terence?
Nolan, Papa.
Eh?
Nolan.
Oh, yeah, where's Terence? After you, where's Terence? This Terence leave, okay. But don't just stand up quickly. What we're going to do, Ulwembu, with due respect because of time and the load shedding, I'm going to ask tomorrow morning, we are going to have one of our sponsors. You are up. I'm going to be calling on what he's going to be sharing tomorrow. Then afterwards, tomorrow, you're also going to be sharing what we're going to be doing, because after dawn, we're going to have Skyco. And after Skyco, we've got Abner, and then we are done for today. Is that okay? So that it's not too... Oh, and Chairman Lee. Chairman Lee, you got to be careful. You know, the Chinese, there's only one Chairman Lee. I'm not Chairman Lee, South Africa, you know. So there's one big Chairman Lee in Xi Jinping. So we got to be careful, you know, that we say the right thing here. Brother Don, talk to me, brother.
Hello to everyone here today.
Yeah, if you can keep the mic closer, that's it. Thank you.
It just shows that I don't do public speaking. Hello, everyone. So basically, just everything has been going on today. Just say thank you. And foremost is that I'm youth. So the question is, for the fourth industrial revolution, Ms. MEC, is Africa ready? I say no. And I can debate that with you later. And on the other end is that if you look at what our forefathers have fought for, is the brick and water, not the plastic. So I'm not saying no to alternative housing, but I think we actually deserve better. If you look at Othello, 90% of its profit growth comes from countries like Africa, Asia, and 2 other countries. But looking at that alone, it just simply tells you that all those first world countries have had more than enough time to actually build their platforms and build the infrastructure. Why can't we also take the time to build our own infrastructure before we quantum leap into things that we're not ready for? Hashtag the fourth industrial revolution. Hashtag this whole new plastic housing. But let us also take the time to build the current foundation. Are we actually trying to fit our kids, well, my generation, into interview positions or into opportunity positions? Because you're already starting from a system that is not built for Africans, but we're adapting into Africanism. But how much of that from our forefathers, Gaddafi, or you want to take Nelson Mandela close by at home, are we still living by? And with all this being said, are we really looking to create people, prepare this generation for interviews, or are we preparing this new generation, our generation, to actually be in power positions? And then there's this saying in Zulu that says, "Indlela kuzakwa phambili." We're not saying kick out whoever is in power, but we're saying rope us in with those in power so we can learn from them. By the time we take over, we're ready for it, but we're not quantum leaping to these things. So for renewable energy and so forth, the 20% for 2030 is doable, but through African industrial revolution, through African free trade. But until we can develop a currency like what Gaddafi and them are fighting for, that Africa can stand by itself with or without what Russia is doing and so forth, because most of the minerals come from Africa anyway. So out of all the resources we have in Africa that the world is actually even taking, how much of that, if we close up our own African countries and states, can we actually still build on? So I'll just leave this open-ended and say that there's so much more we can still do for Africa before we just ship off every single thing to plastic land. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Yesterday, unfortunately, you were not there yesterday. I actually dealt with the fourth industrial revolution. Is that right? I actually dealt with the fourth industrial revolution, but I want to challenge you. I know you're a very successful businessman. I want to challenge you to get in touch with that guy. We are doing a major youth entrepreneurial thing, and I would like for you to be, you know me, I don't mince my word. I want you to be one of the speakers so that we don't talk about those things, we address them. Is it cool? So Jabza, here's one of our speakers. Young guy, entrepreneur, he's got a burden. How must we and how can we include the next generation of leaders? Because remember, some of us, we are in the success, we were in the success stage, but this is significance, leaving a legacy. But the legacy through the energy, as MEC said, we cannot leave the young guys around. So thanks so much, Don. So please, during lunchtime, connect with Ubraja. Okay, I'm for it, Don. Be careful what you say, because with me, you do it. Okay. Thanks so much, Don, and thanks for your support in the past. Ndaten Kwashu, before we finish up with 2 interviews, this interview, Abna, and then we're gone. Just where you are, you handle all the ICANN for IR Africa strategic stuff. Just share a little bit with the people. Just stand up, you know. Your background, what you're doing. 2, 3. 1, your background, what you're doing with ICANN in the area of strategic planning, and a little bit about Empower. So number 1, just who is Dr. Terence Nkwashu?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So my background really is pretty much, I started in HR, human resources, ended up in strategy and planning. In fact, when anybody calls me doctor, it makes me nervous. When you call me apostle, I feel better. When you call me Terence, it feels great. But actually, I'm in strategy and planning. Let me tell you what I do. What I help organizations with and people, small and big, is really translate vision into strategy that translates into a plan to make it happen. One of the most difficult things is really succession, where people build companies or they build organizations, no matter how small. You know, even including when I look at women developing others, for instance, you find that the founder, when they are way gone, what they had started doesn't really continue to exist beyond them. So that's really pretty much, you know, what I do. So the second thing is where I've been before. I've actually been with big corporates before. I grew up in the mining industry. I ended up with Barloworld, Moto on the retail side. I actually then worked for Absa when Barclays actually bought over you know, when they bought Absa. I actually at that time worked for them for about 12 years and moved on to energy. Literally, I think some of you have heard of a company called DNG Energy. I was actually part of that organization for over 5 years. You would remember that the first liquid natural gas to be brought into this country actually came through DNG Energy. So where I fit in ICANN is that I literally just handle most of the work around strategy and planning. It's really what I focus on through ICANN. And lastly then with Empower Africa, what we do is the vision and the dream that we have, and we started working on it. There's already projects that we're looking at. We actually then bringing, in fact I am with Kagiso, our other team members are not here. What we do is we look at people with beautiful projects, bankable, with very, very good bankable plans, and we connect them with investors and funders. Investors and funders will be global, but the projects that we focus on are African. We're looking at projects throughout Africa, the DRC, Morocco, South Africa. We're really looking at finding it. In fact, it's pretty much like what ICANN does, really. It's where ICANN connects people throughout the world. So part of our contribution, what we do, we actually connect people with beautiful projects, small and big, with investors. We also look at core capability that exists across South Africa, across the continent, or even across the world, and actually find a home for delivery for those capabilities.
Thank you so much. Hold on before you leave. The guys who are here, they will meet with you during lunchtime. But those online, how can they get in touch with you?
So my number, just the easiest way, my number, let me just give it to you, let me share with, it with all of you, it's 082, it's 521 2006. You can just literally just save the number and just drop me a WhatsApp and we can connect. 082 521 2006.
Thank you. Give a wonderful round of applause to Dr. Terence. MEC, why he's scared of that? Because I was his supervisor for his doctorate. So he sees the nice David Molapo, but hey, the other academic one, when I need my literature review and reference, hey, is the other side. I'm rough on that. But he did a good job. Actually got an A+. Come on, give me a wonderful round of applause. Thank you for that. My brother, Sbu, tomorrow, thanks so much for your partner, sponsor. Tomorrow you're going to be the first speaker. What is You Are Up all about, and what are you going to be talking to us about? Just give us a taste. Tomorrow's going to be a nice, wonderful day tomorrow. Andre.
Thanks, David.
You're not Chairman Andre. We'll go Chairman Lee, Chairman Troy here. You're not Chairman Andre, are you?
I'll do my best. Okay. Thank you, David. So, first of all, a greeting to you all. It's been an enthralling day. I've really enjoyed today. I've really enjoyed yesterday. The keynote speakers were fantastic. I'm so looking forward to relating what we do as a business because it's all about acceleration. I've been really inspired by the ambassador yesterday and again to the Honorable MEC today. So please come tomorrow morning. Come with your game face. It's going to be exciting. We're an engagement platform and we're going to engage. I can tell you that the doctors put up some prizes and so have we. So there's going to be a little wager going. Come early, come bright, and you're going to hear about technology that is built in 4 ways 6 years ago and has moved the world on every continent. And we're very, very proud to be associated with the Arcan Foundation and everything that the doctor's doing. So 20 years ago we met, and I never thought I'd be here today, but Doc, our age, you look the same.
No, but relationships are important because people need to understand. I said to you that, when people go through difficult time, Troy, certain relationships they go, but certain relationships they get stuck. So 20 years later, here you are, and we are looking forward to that technology because a lot of people are going to be surprised, excuse me, on the technology that you have. So You Are Up, you'll explain what You Are Up is all about. So thanks so much. You brought in a young single guy because some people online and here, he looks like Superman. Stand up,
Jeremy.
Jeremy, just come this side. Let people see because we don't see, Come on, my brother. Yeah, remember we take Bitcoin as part of Lobola, everything, my man. Everything, yeah. Yes. So what's going to be your role tomorrow, my brother, Jeremy?
I'm just going to assist Andre with the presentation and just take you through our really amazing platform. It's really, as Andre's expressed, it's gone worldwide, and we've got so many opportunities that we're ready for, and I think it's just a lovely floor for us to engage with and network with and spread our platform a little bit further than it has gone before.
And Don and James, that's what I'm saying. This is the younger generation. You guys need to hook up. You don't have the legacy of apartheid. These, you are all one, Ebony and Avori, you just get this thing going. Thanks so much, guys. Again, we're looking forward to a wonderful session tomorrow.
I also hope that you're ready for your COVID test tomorrow, eh?
The COVID, yeah, you also have the machine. Hey, wait, you're right, because it's still under health. So also COVID tests, the technology for all of us or for one person or what? The machine that you're going to be bringing tomorrow.
Well, what we'll be doing is it's a device that can test 40 different categories.
Yes.
So we're only going to do COVID on you tomorrow. We'll go easy on just a quick antigen test, but just show you how.
No, she'll tell you. Susan is here, man. I'm COVID-free, my friend, so that's fine.
But
I'm okay, But you're gonna see this machine now, Susan. You're not gonna believe this technology. MEC, right here. But again, the Bible is right. Sometimes a prophet is not recognized in his own city or country. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, the technologies. It's rolled out in Europe. It's EU accredited, ISO accredited, and we're rolling out in the DRC at some border posts. But we can test things like cholesterol, diabetes, corona is one of them. That's moving on now. We'll see how it goes. But 40 different tests, cardiac markers, tumors, thyroid, pregnancy, a wide range of one device, a single device, which is mobile, portable. As you take your test with you, and we're going to do it tomorrow, you'll see within seconds your certificate, pathology certificate actually hits your device, hits your phone. You can fly, you can do what you need to do. But really,
So,
it's about
Andre,
healthcare.
smartphones, because everybody's going to be an interactive
Yeah,
session
you've got to bring
tomorrow.
your smartphone tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
And you'll see how the convergence of technology, how the point of care and the point of diagnosis are meeting. And our platform is really about enabling. So tomorrow is all about me wanting to understand how we can assist and enable you. We have an enabling technology. We partner. That's our business. We're a tech company, but our success and our footprint and our reach is really working with others and making sure that the technology is, reaching the goals that will actually empower you to be able to do. And there's just so much I want to share tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, like I said, we're excited. So he's going to be a first speaker tomorrow. Let's have fun tomorrow. Bring in your smartphones. I'm just so excited because for entrepreneurs, you'll see what's happening. Companies, this COVID thing has made us to be innovative. And again, thanks so much for partnering with us. See you tomorrow. Give them a wonderful round of applause. Thank you for that. And some of you sugar diabetes, so don't eat the dessert today because tomorrow that thing will kick something in there. I'll say, Lorraine, tomorrow what are you going to be sharing about with SIPO? You're going to go first, and then we're going to end up with the last slide, and then SIPO, and then we are almost done there. So what are you going to be sharing with us? You are one of our keynote sponsor. Your CEO was here yesterday. Tomorrow, what are you going to be sharing?
So tomorrow we're going to be sharing a little bit about the impact that Ulembu has and how we can be a partner. So while we might not be as deeply entrenched in renewable energy, we are certainly a partner that you can work with in terms of enabling your business, similar to what you've said, from a data, Wi-Fi, and infrastructure perspective.
Awesome. And Brasipo, tomorrow you'll be there. A lot of people have questions. I think that last slide will be the areas that Ulembu is providing. Is that right?
Most definitely. We'll have it up and we'll be there just to take any questions here.
Wonderful. So again, it's going to go first, second, and then we've got some wonderful surprises tomorrow because it's our last day of the conference. We dealt with health, renewable energy, back to health and leadership. So again, let's give them a wonderful round of applause. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
We have this interview and the last one, and we are done for the day. Let me honor Chairman, and then we'll take you from there. Chairman Lee, how are you doing, sir? Thank you. You can use the mask, sir. That's fine, yeah. Okay. Yes. Chairman Lee, how do you know this MEC, man?
Oh, that's a long story, huh? Should be at least 10 years. And MEC, no, more than 10 years. That time, Khadija, just the head of the economic development of Free State. And our association, we got a ceremony, operation, that's the one VIP from the delegation from Free State. That time, the MEC is the Dr. What's the name? Yeah. And so that's in 2016, about 6 years ago.
Wow. And thanks so much for coming today. But you are the chairperson of the Southern African Chinese Entrepreneurs Association. What is the association all about?
You see, our association, we named that Entrepreneurs Association. The most of our members are involved in the manufacturing or business, different business in first, second, and third industries, and located majorly in Southern Africa, and plus another seven countries, African countries. So located in 20 different African countries, all involved in different business, majorly manufacturing.
Thank you, sir. And right now, with the whole, would you say maybe the top 3 cash cows in your business? Because we are looking for job opportunities for unemployed graduates, women, people with disability. How can we partner with people like ICANN and some of the other businesses that are here today?
And sorry, today I got the invitation today from the WhatsApp from Khadija. But until came in to this room, I haven't realized that that's very important dialogue here. I'm lucky to be here, but you see I'm very casually well. But that's a good question, and I also heard few speakers, the speeches all involving the different kind of partnership. And for the big issue of the employment rate, that's always on the top of the government, like President Ramaphosa, and even the Premier or MEC always worried about that, especially in South Africa. And in fact, we really contributed, we can say, a lot about employment, local employment. Most of our members originally from China, but quite a few already maybe citizens Africa or other African, Southern Africa or other countries, African countries. Like me, I stay here in South Africa already 26 years. And my two daughters born here, and even in the dream of my daughters, in English or in Zulu, not in Chinese. Say myself, we can say already Chinese African or African Chinese. So my members in the association, the factories making quite a few different products, they employed at least, from the basic statistics, at least about 100,000 people.
Wow, wow.
That's about 220 members of our association. So now we always work with our embassy in Pretoria, and in end of March, we are planning to make activity like employment, open employment dialogue, something like that. And quite a few of our members will be there. And we open for the vacancy about 200, something like that.
Awesome. And we're looking forward. This is my attorney. Just raise your hand right there. We're going to be getting your information, and let's see how we can work, because we have an entrepreneurship week every year. So it'd be nice to see how we can work together, to see what opportunities are there, how we can work together. So Chairman Lee, thank you so very much for showing up. We're about to finish, then we still network there. Let's give Chairman Lee a wonderful round of applause. Thank you, sir. I was in China many times. You say xing xing. Is that right? When you say thank you, how do you say in Chinese?
In Chinese,
yes.
Say 谢谢.
谢谢.
Say means thanks a lot. 谢谢. Yeah,
谢谢.
谢谢. 谢谢 everybody. That's good opportunity. So should I also just
yeah, if they want to get a hold of you, yes.
Yes, my cell phone number? Or?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, but your Bitcoin and your banking details, you give that to me, but you can just give him your number. That's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, wow.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, MC. And I like to say work together. I think that's what we must do. And that's what we have been trying for 26 years here. And also, I can I say a little bit more? Okay.
Yes.
And in fact, you sure I still wear the mask. And involving that COVID-19, first, I'm the one infected COVID-19 positively. And in the hospital last year, end of last year, I stayed there 12 days in hospital. And at that time, I had the Chinese medicine and also Western medicine. And they are working together. And then I get, that time, doctor after the you name that a CT or something, scanning,
Yes.
about 30% of my lung already infected, quite serious, and similar level as the cancer that time. So, but I came out from the hospital quickly, only stayed there 12 days. How happened like that? And thanks for all the doctors local, they got a lot of experiences, and also I think the medicine from Western and Chinese, they work together. And so that's why I say we like to say work together. That's what we must do. Not only the culture, not only the medicine, also for all the future, our future together. And now the very, very complicated thing is the war between Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. But I think a lot of things after that will happen, like post COVID-19. And that make the more necessity for us to work together. And now, if you like, my cell phone number is 082 41 31 588. Let me repeat, 082 41 31 588. And my email a little bit complicated, so you're more than welcome, just send me by that number linked with WhatsApp, and then I will give you more details. All right. Thank you very much.
So you send the number, then he will send you his email address, and then we can be able to communicate.
Yes.
But I like that, as we say, thank you. Western medicine, Chinese medicine working together. Yes. Because the problem also with the West, they always wanted to bring a rift between Chinese and Africans. And you're going to see we are breaking that with my brother. You're going to hear now what we're doing. So thank you so much. Again, your banking details, I'll take them privately through my lawyer, and then you can just give us some more money.
Thank you very much. But the bank details, we can talk later.
Lovely. Chairman Lee, let's give him a wonderful round of applause. Thank you, sir. Yeah. My brother, Troy, yes. You see a fellow Chinese, did you greet him in Chinese or in English?
We obviously greeted by Chinese, so actually I'm a member of Mr. Chairman Lee's.
Also, you're a member. Yes. Does he pay his dues on time? Let's just be checked. He can't say that.
Yeah, but I don't have his bank account and Bitcoin. I don't know that.
No, that was a joke. On a serious note, Troy, we want to say thank you so much. This morning, with our friend from Cape Town, but we were hit with load shedding. So fortunately, Nelly was here. But just 2-3 questions, and then we will have the final interview. Troy, thank you so very much. Phone call, we need the screens. And Arnold, can we just show that 2 minutes video before we do those 3 questions? Can we just share that 2 minutes video about SkyCorp? When did you start SkyCorp, as we're getting the video ready?
You mean why, where, or when?
All the 3 W's, go ahead.
Okay, so basically, if go back to before SkyCorp, I was CFO of Sinotech TV. Sinotech TV is a famous brand in South Africa, so they actually got quite a large market share in South Africa and also Africa countries. So I was CFO there, and but I always got a dream to do something on my own, like Chairman Lee said about entrepreneurship things. So yes, I thought I was successful career in Sinotech, but I decided to quit there and start my own. So when I started my own, we're not working in my garage. We started with one of my partners gave me a small office. It's smaller than this stage, but we start from there about 1 year, 2 years. Then I moved to a 200 square meter warehouse with office together. And then, we moved to a bigger one. Yes, those are things we...
But Troy, I know we're catching time. You start small, because the problem with most of us, we want to start big. You started small, and then you started scaling your businesses.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, like I think in previous event I did share like about the fruit tree story is, you know, you plant a tree, you won't get fruits in that same year. You're gonna get probably you're gonna get some certain maybe like few fruits in next year, but I harvest this year with I can't finish them. You know what I mean? So if you you plant a seed and you keep water it, put fertilizer, you take care of it, you're going to harvest in one day. So you can't rush for that. Yeah.
Be careful now because there's a lot of preachers here. You sound like a pastor now, you know, Pastor Troy.
So I'm not prepared to take over your job, but this is the truth.
And then from right now, then how far we're gonna watch the video, but you know, how far is the reach of your organization now, SkyCo?
So basically, you know, we started from like 2 people with me and partner James. Then before COVID, actually, we about the size of like 10 to 12 people. But because of COVID, you know, we set down. But since last year, actually, we grew back to about 15 people. So the business also in a certain level, I'm happy. And so my plan this year, we can grow to like 20 people, next year 30 people. Because for me, I got the target of turnover of business we need to achieve. So you can't achieve with the people with a small scale. We want to reach a big target. So where is I need to get more people to reach bigger targets, but also with the right strategy, with the products, with the things we can do. So I think this part of, okay, I achieve my dream, but I also like create jobs, economy, everything. So sometimes I think there's nothing wrong. You want business people, you want to make money. But I achieve my dreams and also I benefit the society and the people. I think that's a good thing for me.
I think maybe for 2 minutes, let's watch what you do, and then Ausnelli will get some, you know, we'll have stand up so people can talk to her to get some details and things like that. Let's watch the video of SkyCo. Yeah? While they're doing that. Yeah, okay. So the screen, so bottom line, you are in the screen business, is that right?
Yes, okay, so yes, we started from screen business like this screen here. I think today I must say this setup is much better than last time.
In fact, the MEC, she's right here. When she came in, you know, she says, man, you guys look professional. Did she say that? So MEC, these are kind of people who make us look professional. Let's give Troy a round of applause. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. But I think this cloud more should give to my team, you know. So it's my team made that. It's not me personally do that. So I think that's my team's good job.
That's a good leader right there. Yes, yes. So you have screens like this, but you also have bigger screens that like Rhema Church, that whole screen at Rhema Church, yes, that's your screen.
Yes. So basically the screen are built by the components like blocks by blocks. So whatever, so how big a screen you want, how big a screens we can build. Even now, so like, you know, the big billboards, and if you go to now, like, we recently did installation like Total Sports scene, big screen in Center City, and next to it is a Huawei new store. We install very high definition screens in Huawei store, and at the moment, like this morning, Tristan shared with you, he's busy in Cape Town. We install 3 big screens at Takealot Cape Town Center, and also probably this month or next month, we're going to install like about 5 big screens in Cape Town Airport.
Cape Town Airport, wow.
Yes. So
the one in Joburg, OR Tambo, you yes, also, that's your screen?
Yes, so okay. Joburg County is only one because there's client with, they still busy conversation with EXA for the new sites, but Cape Town is signed in paper and we're preparing so that going to be 5 screens going to be installed in Cape Town. So
but also for the homes, these young guys here, they've got a lot of money because I've been to their homes. Oh. So you also do things in their homes, is that right?
Yes, actually, we do target that part. You know, I put you know, I'm still estate, so I'm putting advertising in the estate is like for like 160 inch or 200 inch big screens. So it's a same technology, but is much higher resolution. Yes. So you're going to see much detail with smaller screen, and You know, with a projector, you never get that picture quality with a projector unless you want to pay a professional level money. But there's like affordable technology with LED built big cinema, we call home cinema in the Honey. Even there's rich people about a screen, outdoor screen, put into his yard just next to the swimming pool. So it's outdoor screen, high definition. So where the swimming and after
Watching
that
TV.
take a beer. And,
Hey, some people are having good life, so
watching
you're
the rugby
swimming and
outside.
Kimatata man, hey, dear boy. So,
Yeah, but I would say, okay, Skyco is not a company only do screen. So screen is, end of the day, it's an interface for you to access data. It's either a video or either different things. So screen is only a interface you access those things.
Yes.
For me, sometimes I just say, okay, it's a big monitor. So big monitor, what will benefit to you? Okay, for an event, for a big event. Okay, today, yes, it's a big event, but it still it's like, okay, we're seeing people here like, okay, how many people at the back seat still able to see Dr. Malapo. But think about if like in Remas Church or like in 10,000 people event or like 5,000 people.
Sure.
So, doctor, people are not going to see you at the back seat. True. Only the VIP people can see you.
True.
So, like today, with the big screen here, so people able to see, oh, that's Dr. Malapo. So that's a thing. So for them, it's a benefit.
Sure.
And okay, for like for sports or for a concert, you know, with like U2 or something come here, or even whatever those big like Taylor Swift. Okay. People pay bigger money for a seat, even in the box. You know, for a box, a suit is very expensive. But without a big screen, people are not going to see them. They only see the sound. Sure. They only hear the sound, but they're not going to see it. So the screen is a benefit. So they close the space between them to a star.
It's a screen.
Yes. Okay. Then we come to okay, we call boardroom solutions, you know, and we call like a security scenario. We call smart city. You know, smart city, what's a concept of a smart city is. You see, smart city starts from cameras, sensors, to catch up all the information, all the people flow, traffic flow, this information. Then they go to a brain, it's like CPU to analysis and record all the things. Then, okay, after that we call big data. So end of the day, if the smart city comes, okay. So you see from the street with the camera there, the capture, before it's capturing data, you need to checking all the footprints if you need something. But now the technology is, you know, through the big data, if you see people wear a red suit or red dress and stealing something from some people, he is a suspect. So what you do is, okay, I'm sure it's past there. You put into the system, say red, okay, in the time range. So probably like 2 hours footprint, maybe they're gonna filter all the things just to leave you the red ones. You're going probably only 5 minutes you need to check. So which you're going to spend a short time, and which, you know, for the crime things, for the things, is time is the key. Yes. Because I don't want to say that, but the truth is like the police or the security, whatever, they're gonna come in a time. So,
but with the screen we can capture in real time. You can see. So these screens can also, with the technology and data, you can now do immediately and map these things right there at the same time.
So so now we involve lots of things with like AV, we call AV integration, with public address system, with the smart city, with the security system, and also like a video conference system. So you see now we're using, you are using a public platform like Zoom or something, Microsoft Teams, to dispatch all the information to your fans, to your audience, this through the internet. But for certain government or the company, you know, this is the public system. So people, if they hack Zoom, they can access to you. So yes, for you is you want as much people see you as is better.
Sure.
But some like Department of Defense or something, let's say it. So we involve some government. We proposing, and in some stage with the NDA we don't want to say it. But is we go to the system is we build your private video conference system. So it's only you with using your device. It's our device. And in your network, you got access. We got also, of course, you're going to put firewall things, because anything is, if a network is, people, if they hack your server or things, they're going to access. So, but the thing is, here is it's a private. So unless only the people, you know, you got
want to see, yeah.
Yes.
And that is why when we finish, I want you to meet this guy here, because they're in cybersecurity, they're in data, Ulwembu. So I know he's smiling here. So when we finish, you and him, you need to hook up there.
I would like that.
And then because of time, Ausnelly, stand up, let the people see you. If you're interested, you've got some money for your private suite or private swimming pool, or I'm trying, guys, come on, you know, for government space. And the good news is nearly tomorrow, the last speaker has already booked you guys. He'll be here, young man from Namibia. He's an investor. He's already booked the Sentin Convention Center. We will be hosting convention center with about 3,000 or 4,000 people. So he saw this, so tomorrow you're going to meet him. He also wants to get a quotation. So already you see there's return on investment tomorrow there. So any last words, my brother, because of time, to the people there? Thank you, Ausnelly. They'll be able to get a hold of you. But Brantate Ndlovu, please make sure, okay? Any last words to the people here on online about Skyco?
Let's make it short. So basically, I think from Skyco is, I think we always say, okay, I learned myself is we can start from, like we say, plant a seed and grow for future. So whatever today the situation is after COVID, you know, people suffer from COVID. Like even like last year, I lost like 40% of turnover. But some people worse. Like a lot of companies, like our clients or our suppliers, they closed down. So we still survive. I'm grateful for that. So I think as long as you get hope in your heart, and we work for it, and we're gonna get a future as long as you never give up. So I got a big dream to achieve, that's why I started my business. So I believe today you see Skyco is in a certain level. Okay, we're happy, but what I look at is about a 5 years plan, about 10 years. After 10 years, I think you're going to see more Skyco name in a lot of places. So that says something like, okay, we're happy.
But you started right here with us. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for my friend, Troy and Chairman Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, after the session, they'll be there to meet with us. And again, Troy, thanks so much, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Abna, let's come do the last thing, and then we close there. Let's just do this here. Yeah, I think let's do this thing standing, my brother. Let's do this thing. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
After my father and my mother, the only person who knows me better than anybody else is this young man on my left. We left this country together, got stuck in America for 3 days, slept MEC, in a garage, looking at UCLA. And then the Lord being God, he was directing our steps. He's a UCLA graduate, a very well-known actor in America, different world, with Bill Cosby, Quincy Jones, Lebu M. And then I came first back to South Africa. He came later, stayed with us. He's my brother, but unfortunately something happened. What happened there? Is it on there?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let me observe protocol and say MEC, and to all the distinguished guests who are here, thank you so much, the sponsors. Thank you for allowing me to have a minute with David. effectively what transpired is I became hooked on crack cocaine, and I know our time is limited, so I'm a proudly recovering addict, 11 years clean from drugs. And effectively my drug of choice, I never thought my life will take that 10, but be that as it may, it went that direction. And now we're making the best use of it. There is something called, last year I went to, I went back to my first love, which is training and development and strategic planning, and I went to a private organization in Mpumalanga, a mining house, and I had a workbook that I gave to the chief executive about substance abuse, and eventually we ended up talking about substance abuse. And it became very apparent the extent of the problem, the pandemic that we have, the extent of the pandemic that we have, which is effectively substance abuse that is ripping the country apart. And you won't believe the correlation between mental health, between gender-based violence, or toxic masculinity, and substance abuse. And trust me when I tell you we've got a pandemic in this country. The moral fiber of our society has been eroded. And it used to be a time where you and I knew about people who are using drugs. But now it's in the home. We know of somebody in our family who's struggling with it. And therefore, while I was using drugs, and you know, somebody said to me, sometimes you have to go through 10 years of misery to help somebody in 10 minutes. And unfortunately, my journey took me there. I became hooked on drugs. I don't wish drugs on anybody. I lied, I stole, I was full of grandiosity and pride. I was arrogant, I was self-centered, egotistic. You name it, the list is there. And nobody goes into drug addiction thinking that they will become a drug addict. And that is what is happening. Yesterday I was at a university in Pretoria. I was surprised at the rate at which the statistics are shocking at university level in terms of your kids, my kids who are studying there, who are exposed to that kind of thing. And I found myself knee-deep in it, and I decided I'm going to put it in a book, because what happened, David, is that when I came back, privilege and opportunity was always prime on my mind. I think it was Karl Marx who says we need to control the means of production. And I always looked for opportunities to grow myself, to better myself, to empower myself, and went into manufacturing. I see my friend and brother Mulifi is here, and it's good to see you. And I never thought, I mean, I lived in the US for all the time, never thought in my wildest dreams I'll come home and find myself in active addiction. But be that as it may, I did. And in active addiction, it's not something that's glamorous. It's a pain. You cause pain all around. And when I came back, and that's exactly what I did, I found myself in active addiction, practically sold
But
everything.
before active addiction, you were involved in the church. You and I were running all over the schools, corporates, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were involved in ICANN Foundation, working at grassroots level. I'm passionate about community, and it's amazing. It takes a 360-degree turn. I'm coming back now because I'm going to say, you as strategic leaders who are positioned strategically, there is something that we can do for our people. There is a budget that you have that we would like to tap into, hopefully, not for ourselves, but to empower the communities from whence you come from. And I was in the church, I was sitting in the front pew, I was in leadership. I should have been given a best performing award for best performance because I perfected the art of acting in church. I was sitting in the front with a suit, with a tie. Meanwhile, on one pocket, I had a crack pipe. On the other side, I had a cocaine bag. And fortunately, our church ran 2 services, and in between was an opportunity for me to go and score some lines in the bathroom and come back and raise my hands and say, "Ya hallelujah, ya hallelujah." Meanwhile, I was far from it. And God forbid, a lot of our young people are in the same boat. But I credit, it was the late Hugh Masekela. You know, I worked extensively with him, with Mfundi Vundla. They started a MAPSA organization that was effectively working with artists to try and win them from drugs and take them out. And I worked with him. And little did I know that one day he will be knocking with Lebo M at my door, at my house, and send me to my first rehab. It's not easy to get off drugs. You know, if you're religious or if you're Christian like I am, even World Health Organization recognizes that it's a spiritual problem. And for me, primarily, I opened the window, and unfortunately, I had to spiritually close it, if you know what I'm talking about. And I had to come back home and closed every door that I've opened to let all those spirits to come into my home. I'm grateful. Huma Sikela Lebu M came in, sent me to my first rehab. I relapsed there, came out, went to another rehab, relapsed at that rehab, went to my third try. You know, remember World Health Organization says it's jails, institutions, and death. And effectively, I went to jail because I was caught, and I had to make my case disappear because you don't want a criminal record. And I went to an institution, 3 of them. And now what's awaiting if I relapse, it is death. And I pray that I don't do that. And it's statistically proven. So David, I disintegrated at the seams, you know. I became a shadow of my former self. And, but by the grace of God, I'm here to tell a story. I'm alive to tell a story. So I decided that, and I want to thank you for being a pillar, you know. This is one guy that sometimes you do need to have those kinds of friends where you can just open up. I had a conference, and one of the speakers on Friday spoke about having that confidant that when you get to them, all your guards are down. And you know that your information, whatever that information is, will be definitely protected. And this man, for me, is an epitome of what friendship is all about. And today I celebrate him without a doubt. And grateful that he's practically, for all intents and purposes, he's my brother. And everybody in my family, he buried, you know.
And you buried everybody from my family.
And
so we bury each other's families.
When I decided to get married, he was my lead delegation. And I said, David, you got to go. But when I came back, beaten, broken, battered, and just being nothing, it was David who stood by me. You know, a friend from the US, Bishop Noel Jones, he says, no, don't worry. If you've once had it, it's just a matter of time. And I called him the other day. I said, Bishop, man, it's taking too long. He said, don't worry, it's coming. So I said, your storm is over. You're going to make it. So I decided to pour my heart in this book. Pour my heart, literally. This is not for the faint-hearted. And you know, there's a poem that I end with called My Name is Cocaine. My name is Cocaine, call me Coke for short. I entered this country without a passport. Ever since then, I've made lots of scum rich. Some have been murdered and found in a ditch. I'm more valued than diamonds, more treasured than gold. Use me just one time and you too will be sold. I'll make a schoolboy forget his books. I'll make a beauty queen forget her looks. I'll take a renowned speaker and make him a bore. And I'll take your mother and make her a whore. When I'm finished with you, my name is Big C. You will never once again live. So it's in here. It's all in here. So no holds barred. David, I talk about...
And how much before, yeah, how much is available today? How much is the book?
It's available today for just a contribution of $250. You can pick up this book, 309 pages. We are talking to Amazon. You remember there was something called Soul City for HIV/AIDS. God has given us a vision for a type of a system, but it must be for substance abuse. And we simply call it Choose Life. So you will pick it up on all ICANN platforms. Yes, it's called Choose Life. You will pick it up on all ICANN platforms. And we've got workbooks that are coming up. We've got one already designed for parents, for students. We've got one coming up for parents. And we've got a whole number of other things that are coming up. So please, for your people, you need to pick it up and share.
Papa, let me challenge the MEC. MEC, I know you know my young man, the CEO, Bafana. I would like, before Abner leaves, just 1-2 minutes, because we would like to do a Train the Trainer program.
Correct.
Abner, yesterday I was with His Excellency. He went through the book on the 24th.
Yes.
As we are launching he said to me and Faith, His Excellency. Yes. I made a mistake. I only thought it was for Ambassador for Africa. He's Ambassador of all ambassadors here.
He's coming to the launch.
Tomorrow you could not make it today, but on the 24th the launch is there. So, so you've got the book they can buy now.
Yes.
But also in companies, as part of wellness, we also do something with the corporates, because a lot of people, maybe even people here and watching online, Chief, if the truth be told, we cannot blame Corona, but people either are infected or affected by drugs. What can you help them with in corporates? You start with corporates. What do you do in corporates?
Corporate South Africa, you know, my first life has always been strategy, but every time I go, and last year I decided to go full force and linked up with my agent and stuff like that. But every time I mention substance abuse, it's amazing, MEC, that the conversation end up being drugs, and I always go back for mental wellness. So we decided we needed to come up with empowering tools that will forever transform the mind of the user. Now, I come from a township, and my orientation is from that kind of a context. So, so I understand the psyche of a guy, even though drugs are an equal employer, but I understand the psyche of a person who comes from an environment from whence I come from, who has to deal with that. So we systematically, through David and the intervention of ICANN, designed programs that are targeted and specifically designed for that kind of clientele, and they cut across the board. So we partnered with Project Exodus, and we've got Navigating Recovery. So this is a workbook. It can take 3 days. It can take 3 hours, depending on your budget.
You can also do a trainer.
But this is what I encourage, because we want to capacitate more leaders to be able to execute. So it's all about multiplying ourselves, because we can't do it alone. So the best thing to do is to come in and train the trainer. So Navigating Recovery, and then we've got something called Life Recovery Plan. I live on Life Recovery Plan. I've got a sponsor. Without a Life Recovery Plan, recovery from hard drugs for me would not have been possible. The late Brahu was my sponsor, and I subsequently have a gentleman who will be speaking at my launch, who comes from South Coast, who himself is a recovering addict, and he built a South Coast Recovery Center, and now is running an amazing organization. Exploring emotional intelligence, and we cascade it down to the level of the people so they can comprehend and understand it fully. We have something called Mapping Your Mind. We've got something called Enhancing Emotional Intelligence. There is a culture of recovery, and the culture, thank you so much. There is a culture of recovery and a culture of addiction. And when you are in the culture of recovery, and that's what I speak about, that's why my book is No Holds Barred. So I'm very graphic and descriptive when I talk about it, because what I want to do, the noble intention is to unmask it and to take out the stronghold that it has on people. And you can only do that when you become vulnerable to people. The last chapter, if I may tell you, the last chapter of my book, it took me about 3 years to write. Actually, it took me about 8 months to write, but 3 years to process, because it included my wife and my children. And I tell it all. So she had to be comfortable with the fact that I can air our dirty linen, or at least my dirty linen, in public for the sake of assisting somebody. But at the end of the day, she then gave me a blessing and said, it's got to go out because somebody needs to hear the story and somebody needs to get help. And we all have a story to tell. Mine is simply on addiction and how we can overcome that. And then comprehending addiction, this is where we talk about the culture of recovery and the culture of addiction. And those are two cultures that go hand in hand. You need to decide, every addict needs to decide which culture they belong to. I belong to a culture of recovery, and everything about me is all about recovery, okay? And then ultimately, tackling triggers, you know? What are triggers? Triggers are those things that make you relapse, you know? I've got a flame. I've got a small little flame that is burning, that I have through a culture of recovery. I have to keep it in check, because failure to do that will lead me to total collapse and to total, and with all the pressures that we get, it's amazing how a lot of people, as a coping mechanism, they jump into addiction. But I declare today that it's got to end. I declare today that we need to stand in unison and begin to unleash that power the dunamis that we have to be able to raise the standard of excellence and moral regeneration in this country. So as strategic people who are sitting in strategic businesses, we have a moral obligation. Dr. King says, life is not interrelated, is interrelated. We are caught up in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied up in a single garment of destiny. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. You can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. And strangely enough, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. So we need each other, a sense of independence to make sure that we can indeed, Mandela's legacy does not die. David, I'm truly indebted to you, my brother. You know how I feel about you and how I feel about your work. I see Uluembu here. I want to say thank you to them. I know I'm given a platform and it's their platform, but I want to say thank you for what you continue to be in my life, in my family's life. I can pick up a call and say, David, I need 25 grand tomorrow. And David will not hesitate. He will not ask, when am I going to get it back? He will not ask, where's the contract to sign? He's not going to call the lawyer and say, I've got Abner there, please, does he have assets? Can we attach something? No, no, no. That's the kind of friend you need. And in this season, in this generation that we find ourselves in, you need somebody that you can call a friend, that you can unpack. You know, it's almost like suicide has been glamorized in this country. And a lot of young people are taking their lives. I got a call as I was leaving my house. A young lady, 20 years old, took her life, you know, and she's being buried tomorrow. Last week we heard about so we need to come together and galvanize the support that we have to make sure that we can leave an indelible impression on the footsteps of history of this country. So David, you are my brother. I love you tremendously for the work that you do. I hope all of you are benefiting from the presentation here today. Let's remember, let's say a prayer for that young man in a squatter camp who's alone, who's gripped by Nyaupe, not because he likes that life, but because that's the only thing that he's exposed to. And you and I possess the capacity and the capability, through extension, to be able to bring them out of that situation to make sure that they have a better life. In my concluding remarks, remember, if you cannot be a bush, just be a tree. If you cannot be a sun, just be a star. If you cannot be a highway, just be a road. For it isn't by size that you win or you lose. Just be the best of whatever you can be. With God on your side, nothing is impossible. I wish you the best in everything that you do. God bless.
Izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo. As we end today, Abner, I think you've touched all of us. You know, I know you, I know the story, but I know hundreds of people online. And so I thought, let's just have faith to wrap it up. Again, tomorrow, do not forget, you are up, Uluembu. We've got Rita all the way from Kenya, the chairperson of Kenyan Pipeline. The investor will be here, so we're going to have a good time. But today, let's just pause. Rato, just pray for today. People are here, maybe struggling with this thing privately, publicly, and also Nalaba Abaspegile. Would you do that for us and close this conference?
Okay. Sanbanan. Yeah, but thank you so much for the opportunity to come and stand before you and to say thank you for supporting us. And whenever we blow the whistle, you come willingly to learn and to grab whatever that God has for you from us. Thank you so much. Let's bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much. We just want to say thank you. We appreciate you. You are our everything. You are our dad. Without you, we are nothing. We just want to appreciate you. We just want to acknowledge you. Without you, Holy Spirit, we can't do anything. We thank you, Dad, as Israel call it, you are our helper. You are our guide. You are even our advocate. You are our intercessor. You are our standby. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Even today, you know us as individuals. As we are all here, Lord, you know what are we here for. You know because you are God who searches our hearts. We pray, Heavenly Father, ukuthi uNkulunkulu wethu, whoever okhona lana onesidingo, uNkulunkulu onamandla, khona lo oxakekile, uNkulunkulu ongcwele ofisa ngathi make phuma lana somebody can come. Kuye uNkulunkulu ongcwele athi I've got this for you. I've got this opportunity for you. But God, you know everything that we need and you always provide for us. We pray uNkulunkulu ongcwele that you can meet our needs accordingly. We pray for your will above everything. uNkulunkulu wethu onamandla, siyabonga for all the connections and the opportunities, but above everything we pray for your will. And we pray that may your purpose be fulfilled ngempilo zethu as individuals. We pray uNkulunkulu ongcwele ukuthi let us not just get excited and plug ourselves endaweni ezirongo. We pray that you may help us to align uNkulunkulu ongcwele our dreams and our whatever that we are here and we are having, let it be in line with your will, ngempilo zethu, and you alone be glorified at the end of the day. We pray that, God, you may heal us all. As we are here, some of us, we are parents, we are going through a lot of things. We are trying hard to provide for our families. We are trying hard to bring something new and a change in our families. But yet there is this thing that is pulling that woman, that man down. We pray, Heavenly Father, that you may strengthen us. And we pray that, God, whoever that is going through something, whatever situation that but God, we pray that you may heal and embrace and cover and protect that woman and that man. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray for our families. May your mighty hand be upon us as we depart this afternoon. We pray that be with us, keep us safe until we meet tomorrow. And we pray that, Heavenly Father, whatever eshere in this place, I humble like a seed. Besifigi bole after that, it bear fruits. We pray, let be no seed that is gonna be stolen. We pray that every seed we lay in this place, ayihlale phansi komhlaba ibole up until it bear the fruits. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. We thank and we love you, Dad. In Jesus' name, amen and amen.
And everybody will say, thanks, Rato. MEC, you started this today. We want to say thank you to your drivers, the protectors, Chief of Staff, thank you. For all our guests, like I said, we've got a lot of food. Let's use this time to network. Rato, if you don't mind, the table, if you maybe just go in and dish, come back, let's network, take some pictures. Murendeni, I'm not sure, no wonder only skin, you're busy, make sure that MEC is taken care of. If you can just move right now, Reg, if you just go in and dish, and then we can come back. Folks, let's spend this time together. Thank you. Remember, tomorrow we start on time. Power Pack program. Abna, if they want to, you can sign it. Yeah, actually sign one for the MEC. You buy the book now for Abna. Also, some of our books are there. And then remember, we also take swiping the cards and things like that so that we can support this great work. God bless. Rato, if maybe ka vai li MEC. Aus Oma? If live ka tsama, just no, just tsamang li na li load soul and then you can come back. Yeah, no, that's my home. Yeah, Rato, kopali aus Oma maybe li ka tsama and then load soul ne.